this burden.
How's it going, everybody? I am Kyle from Fantasy Fort Studios, and we are back after what seems like way too long of a time for any kind of stream, but we're here with Adventures in Middle-earth, Eriador Adventures, so we are joined by all of our players today, which is awesome. So excited to be able to do that. But yeah, we are going to go ahead and just dive right in. If you have not been caught up, I mean, we'll have our player introductions and everything, but if you have not been caught up, we do have all of our episodes, previous episodes of Adventures in Middle-earth, put up on the website, because right now they are in the thick of it. They are within the Broadcleave, listening to Captain Mormog's plans of what he's going to do in Eriador. But before we do that, let's go ahead and have our players introduce themselves. We'll go ahead and start with Valineth, make our way to Kyrian and Theodric, and then I'll quickly introduce Calefir, and we'll go ahead and just get started. So thanks for bearing with us for a little bit of a later start time, but we need to get all of our ducks in a row, and now the ducks are very much in a row. So go ahead, Dane.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Dane, or Forge here at Fantasy Forge Studios. I play the character Valineth, son of Morbith. He is a high elf scholar from Rivendell. He is 778 years old, and I need to change that. It says 77 in the description. 78 years old, though. And he is a scholar, like I mentioned. So he uses a bow. Actually, the bow of his father from the Last Alliance, which is pretty sweet. So it's a pretty sweet bow. But he is a kind of a healer, I would say. There's not really a healer class per se in Adventures Middle-earth. It's not really like Dungeons and Dragons classes, but yeah, he's like a ranger slash smart dude who can use herbs and stuff to heal people. And he's currently on a expedition to find his father. That's a personal goal that he has. That's who's been missing for a while, but currently in the thick of it with his good buddies. So it's good stuff.
I like it.
That's Valineth.
Our next player is Kyrian.
Hey everyone, I am Cole and I play Kyrian, son of Durafin. He is a Dunedain ranger of the north who excels at navigating the land and especially kind of helping and protecting all of the free folk of Eriador, especially, people of non-combat abilities like the those in the Shire, in those hobbits and those in Bree. But I'm also he's like 49 years old, and he's one of the higher ranking Dunedain at this time, between the reign of Arathorn and before the rise of Aragorn. So yeah, he is doing his thing, trying his best to guide the party and steer away from danger, and also stealthily trying to do his stuff and reconnaissance. At the same time, he is DPS, dual wielding a short sword or a broadsword, I think.
Yeah, broadsword
is what it is in this, and a elven dagger that used to belong to his fiance, who was an elf. So there you go. That's it. I think that hit all the bases. So
Pretty good.
And our next character is Theodric.
Hey everybody, I'm that Tubby Australian. I play Theodric Grimborn. He is our 18-year-old rider of Rohan. He is our slayer, so that means he is our beefy boy, our barbarian. He is traveling to continue to try and learn and grow as a warrior. and learn to control his blood rage. And he
How
is,
old
of
is
course,
Theodric?
18.
Wow.
He's a
What a
baby
youngin'.
boy.
He's a
Yes.
baby.
Compared to the rest of you, yeah.
We're all ancient compared to you.
Yeah, like double in age at least.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, so he's just traveling with the party, trying to grow as a warrior, and maybe find some answers along the way.
Absolutely. And the last DMPC is Calafir. He is a captain of Dol Amroth of the Silver Swan Court. He is a sailor by trade, and he is a warrior by profession. Trade and profession is probably the same thing, but yes, he does both of those things. And he is a leader of legions down in Gondor, but currently he is on a mission with them. His boat was stranded, was basically caught in a hurricane, laid waste on the shores of Eriador, and he is trying to find a way home. But one thing has led to another. He's rescued some of his friends, and he has made new friends, and is currently doing the bidding of Elrond and trying to figure out what is going on here in the Broadcleave. Specifically with Mormog, who was kind of one of the starts of all of his issues at Eriador. And so he's kind of got some personal stakes in this as well. But he is currently helping infiltrate and do three of three things, hopefully. 1, find any prisoners and get them out of here. 2, discover what Mormog's plans are. And 3, helping Kyrian to find out what is on this monument, a monument that has been locked away to the Dunedain for quite some time due to the presence of trolls and evil creatures that have basically made entrance into the Broadcleave near impossible for any of the Dunedain for hundreds of years. And so these words, this monument, is something that is very important to the Dunedain, and he will do what he can to be able to help this to be accomplished. And I think that also kind of is like the recap a little bit of what's happening. Essentially, this group of adventurers, they have been tasked by Lord Elrond to go figure out who this Mormog is and what his plans are. And that has led them all the way on many adventures to the Broadcleave, fighting many trolls, men of Rudar, and burning down castles and discovering Dunedain refuges and meeting dead people. And so, yeah, it's kind of been a... It's been a time. 15 episodes of definitely a time. And the group has actually successfully infiltrated the Broadcleave. They have disguised themselves with the cloaks and helmets that they had taken from the Broken Keep in where the Rudar people were holding Ginar and Anar, who are the two dwarves that are traveling with them captive. And they are essentially... disguising themselves with some very decent, actually, skill checks last session amongst the evil baddies that are within the Broadcleave. And so they currently, at the moment, have not drawn too much unwanted attention to themselves, as Captain Mormog's speech as at a close. Brief kind of summary of Captain Mormog's speech. He's here. He's come from the Dark Lands to the south. And he speaks the Mordor Black speech, which is a tongue that hasn't been spoken here for quite some time. But he addressed a group of about 50 or so trolls, including some men of Rudar that are around, about his plans for Eriador. And essentially, he is currently in the process of digging many tunnels underneath Eriador so that the orcs and the trolls can walk even during the daytime, and they can have complete control of the lands. And so they are currently gathering slaves in order to help build these underground passageway, particularly in the form of dwarves or any able-bodied person who is able to lend a hand to their assistance. The company has seen this in the Broken Keep. Down beneath the Broken Keep, there is a series of tunnels that were being dug, and that's where they broke many of the prisoners out of. Yeah. Elro here is also joining them, one of Elrond's sons. He is currently off trying to buy time for the party before the people from the Broken Keep, which they had burnt down to the ground, or at least all the palisades and stuff had burnt down to the ground, keeping them from here to give them a little bit of extra time to accomplish the tasks they need to accomplish. But the very last thing that happened before we left off last session was we had Kyrian, who had taken post in one of the watch areas closest to where Captain Mormog is, towards the front, and he is face to face with this large stone monument, a monument that has not had Dunedain eyes set upon it for some time. But after hearing the words of Birder, the Hill Troll chieftain, he was able to basically get past his rage and look up at the monument. Kyrian, first skill check. I'm going to have you make a wisdom saving throw. This is not against corruption, but just a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, you got 1 point of corruption last stream.
Ah.
Just one. Sorry about that.
From the cloak.
No, I don't think it was. It was a bad skill check going somewhere.
With advantage? Come on. Okay. That's gonna be 11. I guess it could have been worse, but
11.
it was great.
As you look up at this monument, you find that it's quite impressive. You see that it is ancient in make, and this stone doesn't look to be natural, almost as if it had been carried here, hiked up through this mountain for some purpose. And it looks like it has been placed. At the base of it, you can see that there is kind of like a stone pedestal that it is been essentially planted into, with all kinds of carvings and etchings on it. You are unable, because of the people who are standing on it at the moment, to read what the base says. However, this monument that stands probably erect, about 30 feet tall, you can read a very skilled hand of someone who had carved a message, an inscription upon this rock. You are going to gain some inspiration as a Dunedain looking upon this ancient relic of ages past. And with that, do you want to read the inscription that is written upon here? Fortunately, you are close enough to be able to read it. The writing is big enough. You're probably just barely able to do it.
I've got eagle eyes. Oh, shoot. You can't see me anymore, can you?
You're frozen.
Dang it.
We can hear you, though.
Let it go, let it go. Don't hold it back anymore.
Hold on. I might have to reset this. Hold on. I might disappear for a second.
No worries. And while you do, I'm going to jump back over to Theodric and Valinith, the two
Brilliant.
of you, and Califir. As you stop and you hear kind of the end of this speech, what are you guys doing in this moment? Because you had stopped to listen to the speech to not draw any unwanted attention to yourself. But is there anything specifically you want to do, anything you want to look at, anything you want to observe in the meantime while this is happening?
So the Mormog and his two human flunkies came from the entrance we are trying to get to, did they not?
They did.
Can I make a perception check and see if there's any other way in?
Yes. I'm actually going to have you make a investigation check for me as you scour around to see if there is anything that would be of use to be able to get in.
Dang, I'm actually better at perception, but that is a 2. I haven't investigated anything.
It's difficult to tell. There's a lot of large bodies that are around, and as you see, like directly to your right, there's a large cliff face that probably rises about 15 feet up, and so a lot of your line of sights are actually kind of broken. You can see pretty easily across the kind of the ravine that's here onto the other side, and you see that there is a stairway that climbs up into the mountain, there is a path that leads up further. You're unsure though where exactly that goes to, but you can tell that some work has been done here, as there is been kind of like some wood that has been brought up, and you can see that on this landing over in the far corner there is something metallic that is standing there, but you're unable to kind of decipher exactly what it is. But that's basically all you can see from just like looking around. You aren't able to find that much.
Okay.
In the meantime, Valinith wants to kind of two things. Look around to see, be perceptive of what the other Rudarians are doing at this moment now that the speech is done, if they've kind of relaxed their attention and whether or not we can move forward. And secondly, he's going to look to see if these guys down here are plastered and where they're getting plastered from, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like their stash of plasters of being drunk.
Stash of plaster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna first have you make an investigation check. This investigation check, you can't really see these two that are up ahead because it's pretty like sheer cliffs above you, but you can see over here and you can see Kyrian. But as you look to this guy, I'm gonna have you make an investigation check.
Did I get anything? At the end of last stream we got that's influence checks. That's a natural 1 for a 4.
It's difficult to tell. These guys, they seem to be like trained to a degree to like be on the lookout, but it's difficult to tell if they're being aloof, probably because of like the helmets on their head. But it's difficult to tell if they're being aloof or if they are being watchful. It's best to tread carefully.
Okay.
And then the other one is to examine these guys down here.
Yeah, see if they're like if they are completely drunk at this point and where they're getting their alcohol from, like if there's any stashes that are there.
Make an insight check for me.
Okay. That's better. That's a 24.
It's much better. Yeah, some of them do seem pretty wasted. And I would say the majority of them. Where their stash of plaster is from the beginning. If you remember when you first had entered the Broadcleave, there was a bunch of crates that there was some specific dwarven spirits that those 3 trolls that were out in front were looking for.
Have they brought any specifically into this area, or
other than basically they were picking up barrels as like tankards with them as they were making their way in, and you did notice that you can tell that some of them had been like these barrels and crates had been discarded on the side as soon as they were finished. But from the beginning, they were taking like armfuls of these things, and they were like drinking quite merrily, almost as if like this was something that was promised if they came. And so they are very much taking full advantage of it. And trolls are stupid just to begin with, but like they look stupider than probably what they would normally be, at least less perceptive, if that's the case.
All right. Okay, I guess that's what Valinith notices going forward, and he's gonna kind of like, as we're moving, are we deciding to move, by the way?
I'm having a look. It might just be how I'm like a thing on the map. Is this a rock or not? I don't think it is, but
this is not a rock. No, it's just a patch. And so there's like a giant rock that's here. This rock's probably like, I don't know, like 6 feet by 8 feet in like dimensions. But you can only squeeze through like one at a time here. But it's basically like a mixture of like snow, gravel, and like icy areas that are here. If you remember, any being in this area and because of like the environment, you will all have on basically any dexterity checks, such as specifically saving throws, you have disadvantage on right now.
I do not. I have danger sense, which I believe gives me any terrain that I can, or obstacle I can visibly see and be aware of, no longer affects me with penalties. So because I am aware that I am on ice, I am no longer bothered by ice.
Sweet.
That's real nice.
Nice.
I don't know about you, Dane, but I think we should probably wait for this guy to finish his speech and leave. I don't see how he can sneak past them when they're up having speeches and having 50 plus trolls staring up at them adoringly.
Yeah. One last thing, I guess, if Valinith can see, he's gonna kind of like observe these two men. Are they just kind of like standing and like listening and just enjoying the revelry, or are they being very like attentive in their like watching?
I'm gonna have you make an insight check, but as you make that check, we're gonna go ahead and jump back over, because again, this is all happening simultaneously. To
the 9.
A 9, okay. As you, Kyrian, look up at this pillar, keep that 9 in mind, bro. But as you look up at this pillar, you begin to read. And again, these etchings are almost as if they were carved yesterday. They are still very clean. And you can tell that there's actually like been like a white like paint inlay on each letter. And they are written in basically it's like a form of like Numenorian speech, but it's a more modern form of it. So it's not quite like Westron, which is like the common speech, but it's something that you would very much be familiar with. It's because it's a language that you still use today amongst your people in the Dunedain. And so it says, in the twilight of Arnor, as shadows fell and hope waned, I, Malbeth the Seer, glimpsed a future veiled in both dread and promise. My final vision is a gift and a warning. For though the Witch King was cast down, and the north left in ruin, the darkness that once ruled Angmar shall stir again. Heed these words, O free peoples, for they shall guide you when all seems lost. In days yet to come, when the land lies at peace and vigilance fades, a shadow shall creep across the west. In the forsaken hills where the Witch King once dwelled, the remnants of darkness shall conspire. From far lands beyond the mountains, one of great might and cruel intent shall come, uniting the scattered and the forgotten. Beneath the earth, paths unseen shall be forged, dark and twisting, to shroud their march in secrecy. When this labor is complete, war shall come to the free peoples, and the north shall tremble beneath the weight of a resurgent foe. Yet even in the hour of despair, hope shall be kindled anew. Not from the halls of kings nor the courts of the wise, but from unexpected corners of the world. Four shall rise, chosen by fate, their path converging as a storm gathers over the land. Though their origins are unalike and their strengths diverse, together they shall form a bulwark against the tide of shadow. One shall be plagued by visions, burdened with dreams, a darkness, and ancient evils that stir unseen. This one shall see what others cannot, unveiling secrets hidden even from the wise. Their curse shall guide the free peoples, though it brings no peace to them. Another shall come from afar, bearing the skill to command and the hearts to protect. They shall rally the scattered and unite the divided. Their cunning and resolve, a shield against despair. Without their hand, no alliance shall hold, and the light will falter. Second. Gosh. Okay. Sorry about that. I messed up the overlay. I had to fix that. Okay. Continuing. One among them shall be steeped in ancient lore, a keeper of knowledge long buried. This one shall unlock the wisdom of the past, finding strength in what was forgotten. Their power to mend what is broken, both land and spirit, shall rekindle hope where none remains. And the last shall rise from a long line long thought diminished, a remnant of old, hidden in plain sight. Through courage and sacrifice, this one shall awaken the strength of the North, binding its people to stand as one. In their hands shall rest the key to the past and the promise of the future, though their journey shall test their will and their worth. Together the four must weave their gifts, for the trials ahead shall not be endured alone. They shall face enemies both near and far, in flesh and in spirit. And as the shadows converge upon them, their bonds shall be tested, their resolve weighed, and their strength measured. For only in unity can the darkness be undone. When the storm rises and the stars grow dim, remember these words, for they are my last. Though Arnor has fallen, its spirit endures. May this vision light your path in the coming dark. Long live the memory of Arnor, and may its strength rise again in the hour of need. And that's what it says.
Intense.
And with that,
You might be muted, Cole.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
So sorry. Technical difficulties today.
No worries, it happens.
Arnor, remind me, as this is above game, is that a good or the bad kingdom?
So Angmar is the one that the witch king.
Angmar.
Yep. Arnor was the kingdom that essentially was established by King Elendil when the Númenóreans came over.
Okay, that's okay, because that's the one that the hobbits were technically a part of when they founded the Shire, right?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
they were like, yeah, we're subjects, but kind of just ruled themselves.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. I'm sorry, I'm rereading that book, so I just read that. Cool.
Exactly. So yeah, that's Arnor. And so the last king of Arnor, and you would know this definitely as like a Dunedain. This is basically your lineage. The last king of Arnor was a man by the name of King Arvindui, and he was lost. Actually, he drowned to death essentially. But he, when essentially Fornost fell and the Witch King had taken over, there were basically a number of alliances that were formed in order to get rid of the Witch King and his powers, which things to be unveiled later. If you know the history, then you know the history. But,
Fornost is not where we are currently, is it?
no, it is not. So it's north of Bree.
Cool.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
it's
one of
right
those
in the
that
middle.
sounds
That's the
familiar. I
Dunedain
just don't
city.
remember exactly.
That's the Dunedain city, isn't it?
Yeah,
Fornost?
so it's one of the sanctuaries of the Dunedain.
Oh, yeah. That's why it rings a bell. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep, Fornost.
Sorry for my lack of.
No, it's okay.
wisdom.
This is good for everybody to know because not everybody has the knowledge either. And so,
More than I know.
yeah. And so, with that being the case, what are you doing in this moment as you finish reading this? And many of the trolls, you do notice that many of the trolls are still kind of speaking in hushed tones, but kind of paying attention. The three that are up at the front have not moved. What are you doing specifically in this moment as you read this?
Yeah. As I read it, I guess I'm reading it.
As soon as you finish reading it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look around to see if there's like any sort of way to kind of sabotage / trap them / like a avalanche or just any sort of something to like that I could quickly do to like cover our tracks / cause a distraction / just like tangle them up, cause confusion. Yeah.
Make a survival check for me. And as you're doing that, you got a 9 on your insight check.
Yeah, about these two guys, and
It's-
are they?
Much easier to tell the one who is closest to you. The other one is kind of half covered by Captain Mormog, but the one that is closer to you, you see that he is in kind of like these leathered, kind of like cloth armors, but you can tell that he is quite large. Probably this is a guy who is a descendant of some line of Northmen who is able to endure temperatures and like just the simple meager amount of clothing that he's on. But you can tell that there are scars and battle wounds all over basically like his chest, shoulders, and face. He seems to be not necessarily alert from what you were looking for. He doesn't seem to be like on focused attention like maybe some of the other guards are, but he seems to be looking out and there's a smirk on his face, almost as if he is proud in this situation. It's difficult to tell about the other person. He's got a cloak over his head, like a hood over his head, and he's also half covered, so it's difficult to tell.
What does Valnith know about the history of the Northmen and their alliance with the Witch King and Angmar itself?
I'm gonna have you make a history check for me. It could be at advantage.
Okay. History. Where's my history? There it is. I don't know if I need advantage, but I'll roll again. I'll roll it.
Might as well.
20. Dirty 20.
All right. Yeah, you basically during the Wars of the Witch King, he had gathered kind of all of the hill tribes that had existed in the north, and these eventually became known as the Men of Rudar. However, during the overthrowing of the Witch King by the forces of Gondor and Rivendell, they were scattered essentially, and so like there was nobody to unite them, and so they went in various directions. Some of them stayed in the lands that of Angmar that were occupied, but many of them actually fled to the west. And this is actually something that Theodric might be familiar with. Like the men in the Vales of Gundabad are actually remnants of the people from Rudar, and so they are a people. They're basically a scattered people. And they haven't had a leader since the Witch King.
So they're not a united people. So this is strange seeing like leadership.
This would seem odd. As far as like the like men of Rudar that like your like father's company, like hunting company had encountered. They don't really travel far south. They every now and then might do like a raid on like some like small encampment of people that are stupidly setting up camp kind of in the lone lands in the north, like kind of in the lands of Rudar. But they don't do as much as like you might think that they might, considering like the amount of them and their potential strength united. They have many tribes that basically make them up as a people, and once they had no more like central leadership, they all just kind of did their own thing, and basically their own community's needs are what is being fulfilled.
Yeah, Valinith kind of whispers to the group and says, "This is kind of odd. It seems like the men of Rudar themselves are beginning to unite, but at what cost? Obviously, is it an alliance because of fear of Mormog, or is it an alliance because of something else?" And Valinith is kind of just pondering this as he says it out loud, but as he's listening and walking and just really trying to puzzle things together.
Can I make an insight check to see if this has anything to do with the rumors of that warlord up in Gundabad?
Yep, the king of the north. I would say,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know if an insight would necessarily. I would say make a wisdom skill check, just like a straight wisdom.
Just straight wisdom? How do I do that one again? It's just
Up
the
on
button.
your character, if you just click on like the wisdom stat, it should give you just wisdom skill.
That was a pathetic roll. I got 2.
Two times in a row. It's difficult to know. With Valinith telling that there is a connection from the men of Rudar and those in the Vales of Gundabad, like there could be, but there was no sign that you saw of any connection. They just seemed to be doing their own thing, living their own life, being, savage.
There you go.
Interbreeding,
we-
all that kind of fun stuff.
Can we see Kyrian from where we're at right now?
You can see him basically studying the essentially, you can see that he was reading the stone, but now he's up looking at everything that he possibly can. Meaning, Kyrian, what was the result of your survival?
Survival.
Yep.
15.
15. So the one thing that you do know is the seasons here could be quite harsh. As I had mentioned previously, you are nearing spring, like the later parts of spring, and probably within the next few weeks, much of this land, this frozen land, is going to start melting, meaning the ice shelves that kind of have begun to, during the winter time that had caked themselves on the side of the mountains, are actually starting to melt a little bit. And so there's a decent amount of slush and kind of like loose rubble. One of the things that you had noticed before, too, as you were walking through, so this was a last session thing, as you were walking through, there was actually a small rock slide that fell. If you guys remember that. There was a small rock slide that basically came down, scattered some rocks here, and a couple of them hit some of the trolls, and they were just like, oh, what the heck, and they were like pissed off about that. So there is definitely some loose, not necessarily snow. There is snow around kind of up on the upper peaks, but it's mostly ice covering stone. So if there would be a way to be able to dislodge or damage the ice enough, you might be able to cause some kind of a rock slide from like a fast thawing, essentially. Other than that, if you're looking down kind of at the ground here, you can tell that there is a decent amount of ice that has been cracked under the weight of the many trolls, like I said, about 50 trolls that are down below. You're unsure. The Horwell doesn't run up this high, so there's not like a lake or like a river down here, but
Sure.
chances are it's probably quite muddy beneath it. And so if the ice were to completely break, it might slow them down to a degree. But that would cause, you would need some kind of like massive disruption in order to either fracture that or melt the ice there.
Sure.
Anything else that you might notice? As far as these watchtowers, from what you can see, they seem pretty well built, and they seem to be built prior to the ice forming, meaning at some point last summer or like early fall, these probably have been built because the ice has begun to kind of like latch onto them from the mountainsides. You can do with that information what you will. I think that's about it from that check that you would be able to get. I would say specifically if you're looking for specific areas where the it seems loose.
Sure.
From this area where the rocks had fallen, there's a large crack that runs about halfway down. You would probably have to deal like a decent amount of damage, or like for example something large would have to hit the side in order for it to shatter. As far as anything from this side, you can tell there's a little bit more snow up top, but this seems much more frozen. Almost as if like the sun, the way that it goes is like from the east to west, it's like down below it. And so this side probably is your best bet to try to cause some kind of rock slide or avalanche.
Okay. And then from my vantage point, I assume I see this little cave here. And
You do, yeah.
Can I see anything more than they can? Like,
yeah, you have a kind of a direct view into it. There's nothing directly blocking your line of sight, so I'm gonna say, I'm gonna have you make an investigation check.
okay.
At least you can see a little bit into the cave as far as that goes. It gets pretty dark, pretty rapidly inside.
6.
6.
Low roll.
You aren't able to see much. You do see, though, that at the foot of the cave, it looks like much of the snow has either been moved away or melted, meaning there is a lot of foot traffic that comes in and out of this cave, but that's all you can really tell.
Okay. Great.
Sweet.
I will keep an eye on my party and try to just think about what I am to do here, and maybe think about an exit plan.
And with that, we're going to move over to the other company. So as this basically talk comes to a close, all of the cheering, all of the comments from Birder have finished. You see Mormog, and he kind of gives like this large, like toothy grin, and he has like almost like these like tusks that reach out as he looks and kind of sneers. You could tell that his presence is menacing, and he looks to be almost scanning the crowd for anything in particular. But he does stop. Fortunately, you have this large boulder that's kind of covering you and your company. As he like looks up and around, and he says, "Now, our plans are to continue. Each of you, I will have a task. Birder, send news back to Mount Graham. We are going to need all of the help that we can get. Goblins, orcs, those that dwell beneath the mountain. Gather them. Build my highways." And then he looks to the two that are on the side of them, and he says, "You have pledged many men to me, and to that, I and my master are grateful." And he kind of like nods his head, like very odd for like an orc creature. Kind of nods his head almost respectfully to them. But he turns around and he looks at the monument that is behind, and so his back is facing the group of you. And with that, both of these guys turn as well, almost as if to like try to see what Captain Mormog is looking at. And he runs his hand on the monument, and he says, "Now this is a pretty piece. Yes. Yes. I see that it depicts nonsense." And he takes basically his sword and he whacks it across the surface of the and you can hear like this kind of like ear splitting, almost like lightning or like thunder has like struck, just like ringing throughout, and it clings back, causing no damage to it. And he says, "Ah, yes. This is no mere stone. This is of Numenorian make. hate it. And he looks down to the guy at his left. And he says, if you will. And the man, he pulls out of basically his cloak what looks to be this book. And as he does so, he says, with pleasure. And he begins reading this text. It would be difficult probably for this group over here to be able to hear, but Kyrian might be able to make out the words that he was saying if you listen close enough. I'm going to have you make a perception check for me.
Great. Perception. Nat 20 for a 27.
What languages do you know?
Sindarin and Western.
Okay. As he begins to read, you can tell that it is some form of Elvish. It is very loosely linked to Sindarin, but it seems older than kind of the common language spoken. And he begins to speak. You're unable to really pick out exactly what he says, except you're able to pick out a few key notes. As he does speak, kind of like this green almost energy begins to flow up through him, and his eyes begin to glow this greenish kind of pale light. And he says, and he looks up as he continues chanting this incantation, and he taps his staff to the stone, and the white that was originally filling become that pale green. And you can begin to hear kind of small fractures and small cracks. Basically, you're able to see, to hear, and the powers that were once granted to me in ages past, in times long gone. To you, I will wipe away history. To you, I will make sure that the fall of man shall come. And with that, you hear many cracks as the monument begins to fall to pieces beneath kind of this green glow, and eventually it just utterly explodes. Kind of think of like in the Return of the King when the Eye of Sauron explodes. Like it kind of like crumbles,
Sure.
and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, and rock is thrown everywhere. Like small fragments of rock are thrown everywhere, and the monument is utterly destroyed. And you can hear, basically this is followed with like a low chuckle from Mormog. Yes. Now begins the fall of the West. Now begins the fall of man. And everybody, all of the trolls in the group, they begin to cheer. And the two men on either side of them, they don't say anything one way or another, but they turn around with Captain Mormog as they face the rest of the group. Birder is laughing, and he basically has his sword out, like his large orc sword out, and he's just like raising it in the air. And many of the trolls begin to follow, almost as if they are basically rallying for something. And there is a slow boom rumble as the commotion begins to pick up. If you're going to make any movement, now is your time to do it in the chaos. But also, Kyrian, as the rumbles continue, you can begin to hear the sound of falling rubble to a degree. Small pieces, but the more that this place shakes, the more, the quicker that's going to happen. Specifically from this area. You are kind of in the danger zone right now, Kyrian.
Yeah, for sure. Noticing that, I will. How tall up does this go? Like, is it real high up there?
Yeah, this cliff is pretty high. It probably extends 70 or 80 feet up before it kind of joins with even like taller peaks that are in the background. This specific area probably is 10 feet, and it's much steeper on like the side that the rest of the company is on. It's a little bit more gradual in this area.
Well, as I don't really have much of anything to break the ice or do anything to do it, I see that it's already starting to unsettle, so I will just calmly start making my way back over here. I'll try to make eye contact with them and like non-verbally communicate that I am now leaving.
Okay, perfect. As you do that, I'm going to have you, as you come back into view of this guy here, I'm going to have you make a performance check for me.
At advantage.
What is that advantage? You do have... No, it's not advantage. It's +2.
For him plus... no, he's wearing a captain's.
No,
Is-
he
no,
did
no,
wanna put the
Valinith.
captain on, yeah. So I
Yeah.
think it's +2. So basically a
Okay.
check at a +2.
I am going to use my inspiration and roll again.
Do it.
All right.
Your inspiration as you see this monument of the fall of Arnor just completely shattered.
7.
7. You continue to walk this way.
Oh wait, +2, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
+2.
9.
You continue to walk this way, and this guard up top, he does look down to you and confront you and say, "Your patrol isn't over. What are you doing?"
Ice is looking dangerous. Moving to a better vantage point.
Make a persuasion check for me.
Oh, why am I not good at these things?
Okay.
Oh, 2. Not good. +2 to that as well?
Yeah, actually, technically +2 to that as well. But
4.
4. He looks up at the ice and he says, "Not supposed to thaw for a couple of weeks here."
You see how these big ones shook the place? We're in the danger zone, friend.
He looks back up towards the mountain unbelieving, and he says, "If it suits you. But don't think I'm not going to report you later.
I
Do not leave
expect
my
nothing
sight. We will not take for any deserters now."
Of course not. I'm merely
You are
getting
being-
out of the way.
You are being watched.
Great.
All eyes are on you now as you continue to move.
Cool.
Where exactly would you like to go? So basically,
yeah.
the way, like, this was the entry point, like on the kind of far left of your screen here. There's like
Yeah.
a large boulder that essentially, if we took this map and we kind of flipped it
Okay. Oh, I
like,
see.
this way 90 degrees, there's a large boulder
Yeah.
that divides 2 paths. You guys came up the right path, and that is where currently Anar is chilling, kind of pressed up against. He's wearing the dwarven armor that you guys had seen previously, but he's kind of
Yeah.
pressed up against this boulder structure. But he,
Okay.
so from this moment, where are you heading?
Is there any sort of watchtower further this way, or not really?
No, not really. The closest one would be the one, yeah, there we go, thank you. The closest one would be the one that is on the far side, but the Etten is chilling right here.
Okay. Oh boy, is there any sort of like higher vantage point over here?
No, so this drops a little bit. There's a fire
that's a
here.
drop.
There's a fire here that does raise a little bit, but basically there's like a sloping path that makes its way down here. In order to cross this, I would say you would have to make a dexterity saving throw, which you would have disadvantage on in order to cross, in order to get to this point, or if you would like to hug kind of more of this area, you would probably be okay.
Sure.
Without making a check, what I mean. So.
Yeah. I will stay up here.
Okay.
Because this is, I assume, a higher spot.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I'll stay up here then, and just kind of plant myself here so it looks like I'm just, getting out of the way.
Mhm. With that, I'm going to
Yeah.
have Valinith, Theodric, and Califir. The 3 of you are going to make perception checks for me.
I got a 16.
I got an 8. Oh my god, I'm rolling so bad today.
Me too, except for the nat 20, but me too.
Ooh. That's a 5 for
I
Califir.
rolled it when it didn't matter as much, you know?
The
That's good at least.
16 from Theodric. As you are looking around, you notice that Kyrian has begun to move. and you see that he has had some kind of a conversation with the guard up there, but you can tell that the guard has kind of become hostile. He's gotten his hands on his weapon. Basically, it's a short bow that he has on his person. He hasn't knocked any arrows, but you can tell all eyes are on Kyrian. Time is of the essence, but that means that most likely the other guards in the watchtower are all eyes on Kyrian as well.
Okay. How can this guard down? Oh, I haven't got my mouse thing. Can this guard or this guard see us?
No, they cannot. It's too sheer
Cannot?
of a rock cliff to be able to actually
Okay.
actively see.
Well, Theodric, after seeing the monument collapse, is going to turn to the party and say, "This might be our best time to try and sneak past. Everyone's busy celebrating, and all the guards seem to be pretty intently focused on Kyrian. Hopefully we'll be able to, just glide on past through all this chaos."
I agree. Look official, lads.
And with that, you continue to make your move, walking through all the way to kind of the cave entrance. And as you do so, as you get closer and closer, you begin to see truly the menacing presence of the individuals that are up here. Mormog has begun to dig through the rubble, so he's kind of squatted down, looking as if he's looking for something. You can tell that the man on the far left side of him, or like above him on the screen, isn't doing the same. In fact, he looks like as if he's out kind of scanning the horizon. He currently isn't looking at you. And this man that is down here, kind of the bigger looking dude, he's basically looking out to see if like what's going on. You're unable to basically discern what he's looking at, but he's also looking out kind of more down into the crowd of trolls than anything. I'm going to have the group of you make stealth checks for me.
Okay. Did we have any modifiers because of our cloaks, or was it just flat?
No, that was just for the charisma-based checks. So the stealth ones are just flat.
13 for Val.
I got 12.
13 for Caliphyr, and let me roll for Ginar as well.
Well, Ginar's a prisoner.
Ginar is a prisoner, but you are sneaking by without causing any, or at least drawing any attention to yourselves, potentially. Alright, so... that is a 17 for Ginar.
Get it.
And as
One with the mountain.
you have all passed the skill check, meaning more than half of you did, and so you're able to sneak by into the cave if you wish to do so without being noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we would definitely wish to do that.
As you disappear beneath the threshold, it actually immediately becomes warmer than it was outside. Off in the distance, you can hear what sounds to be a fire crackling, though you do not see it. This looks to be a kind of a cavernous system, big enough for a small troll to be able to walk through, but not so cavernous that like a hill troll or mountain troll could climb through without like squeezing. And you can tell that it basically kind of like there's like this winding path that continues forward. It veers off to the left, and that's all that you can see coming within this threshold.
Well, that was easy enough. I guess we continue on. And Valnith is gonna listen to hear if he can hear any or see any signs of like shackled movement or like prisoner chains or anything like that to kind of lead the way.
Make a perception check for me.
Okay. 16.
The stone floor is completely dry. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of traffic that comes through here, but whatever wet gets dragged in, the warmth of the place is able to evaporate pretty easily. As far as like shackles and anything, there's no necessarily clear signs of that, but you can tell that a lot of foot traffic has come through here. Particularly, you look at the ground and you see footfalls of what look to be people of man size, and then a very evident set of footfalls from a much larger set of footprints from Mormog.
Well, I see we continue with haste. At the very least, get to where we need to get to, so no one suspects us. So, push forward.
Push forward.
You do so. As you continue to wind, the tunnel veers off to the left, and you begin to turn, and it kind of gives kind of like this like wavy motion, almost kind of like a topographical view of like a river and like the natural curvature of that. It doesn't look like that this has been something that's carved out, almost as if this has been here for quite some time, this cave system. No new cutting or chips have been made, but as you continue to walk, you hear the sound of the fire growing louder and louder until eventually you veer right after probably about a minute of walking. It's not too deep into this place, but it's a lot of curves and so and pretty narrow. Probably enough space for like 2 normal-sized people to walk shoulder to shoulder through. But you're able to find your way into kind of like this larger great room that you can tell has been carved out at this point, almost as if this place has been expanded. And you can see at the far end there seems to be some kind of a wooden door, and on the right you see basically a ramshackle set of large cages, and you can see that the cages are made of bone. They are not made of wood or lumber or anything, and they are tied together very firmly by what looks to be decently new rope. These are probably pretty new cages that have been built. On the left side, you can see that there are a number of beds that have been set up, and particularly of notice, you see that there is a set of what looks to be kind of like cabinets that have been like nailed into the stone wall that are on the left side. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump back over to Kyrian while you guys are investigating this. I'm going to have the 2 of you make investigation checks for me. Kyrian, you see the group of your companions disappear into the caves while kind of this frivolity is going on amongst the trolls that are down below. And you begin to hear one of the trolls call up actually to Mormog, who is searching through the rubble. And he says, the troll's like, "Oi, Captain! Now what? What do we do now?" And Mormog, he stands up and he turns around. He looks at the entrance of the cave and his eyes linger on it for a moment, but he turns back and he says, "We prepare. Tonight is a night for revelry. As any preparing for war, we need to celebrate our troll brethren. As I am Ulaghai, I share the same blood as you. I was born in the lands of Mordor, and my task is to serve the Dark One, the Shadow. After this war is over, your stomachs will no longer be empty. Your cups will never run dry. Go with your master, Birder, Troll Chieftain." And with that, you can see that he pulls out of his pockets what look to be 3 different amulets. He ties one of them to the neck of the guy directly north of him. The guy, or directly south of him, he ties one to. And then he makes his way actually over here to Birder. And he grabs basically like a long chain, and he affixes basically this pendant to it, and he puts it around Birder's neck as well. And he said, "Now these will give you the powers of my master. These are how we know your loyalty. Do not falter in your loyalty, or I shall know. Magics have been placed upon these. Magics to give you strength. but magics that allow me to know your thoughts. And with that, you can see, actually, I'm going to have you make an investigation check for me, Kieran.
Yeah. To clarify, he's putting these on the trolls, yeah?
Specifically Birder and the two men that were on the stage with him.
Cool.
Raised platform.
Investigation. Nice. 19.
19. You see that as they seem momentarily distracted, but as Birder turns around and he says, "Yes, I will do the Lord's will." And many of these trolls, again, are distracted, just kind of like in their own party. You look towards the cave entrance, and you can see it's probably been about 2 or so minutes that have passed. As this man, the one further south, he takes basically the necklace and he looks at it. He kind of like nods, but he holds it in his hand for a moment and he lets it fall to hit against his chest. He looks back towards the cave entrance and he turns around and he says something. You're too far away to be able to hear what he says to this person, and he actually turns around in order to go back towards the entrance of the cave. This guy hasn't moved yet. He still seems to be looking at the pendant that is on his newly on his neck. You gonna do anything in this moment?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh gosh. Do I see anything? Oh crap. Why do you guys got to do this to me? Do I see
believe
anything
in
up
you.
Here? Is this like area clear? Is that where the other guy went?
Yes, and he went up these stairs and he disappeared somewhere up there. You do not see him. However, you did get close enough to be able to see there is a basically a heightened platform that is specifically here that has a bell, kind of this rudimentary bell that has been placed there to alert of basically anything. This place has been set up to be just completely under watch. This broken stair that is up seems to be old, probably established and built from the same time as the original monument when it was here. Yeah, but as far as like seeing anybody up there, you can't really tell. You would
Okay.
have no way of being able to see this field of view here, but as far from what you can see before it turns, you can't see anyone here, you can't see anybody here.
Okay. I'm gonna look down this path here.
Yes.
Anyone coming?
There's nobody coming actively, but you can see the back of the Etten. One of its heads, the one that was sleeping earlier, has begun to sleep again. He's sitting down, and one of the heads is sleeping, and then the other one is still scanning basically directly forward, so he's not looking backwards.
Okay. Oi! What is that? And I'll point down, not the path that our friend here is on, but down the other path. I think I may have seen someone sneaking about over there.
And as you say that, immediately the attention of this guy is alerted, and he pulls out his bow. Well, his bow is out, but he actually draws an arrow, and he says, "What? What do you see?" And he begins to climb down this tower before he eventually joins you here. Are you doing anything? Are you making any movements before as he is making his way over?
Yeah. Hold on. Down that path.
Mhm.
Is that the path we came down, or no? We
No,
came down
so
this one.
you came down this southern path.
Okay.
They lead to the same place, though.
It
They're
does.
just two different paths. Yeah, they're just two different paths.
So basically, like this.
So it's kind of like a river that goes around like a little island, but it comes
Yeah,
back.
kind
Yep.
of like this.
There we go. That's perfect.
Nice.
That's
oh boy.
helpful.
Crap. Okay, then I'll try to point, like, are there any places someone could conceivably hide down this path?
Yeah, there's actually a tree that is there, like potentially like it's still complete. It hasn't been felled or chopped or anything, but it's basically like a very dense pine tree. That would be probably the only place.
Okay. I will call attention to it. There! I think I saw something dark behind that tree. And I am trying to be louder so as to grab some attention. Like, nothing like so much that like they're all gonna stampede after me, but like enough to be like, wait, what's happening over there? You know? You know
Make
what
a
I'm saying?
deception check for me.
Oh man, okay.
I believe in you. This is a advantage, though, isn't it?
No. No, he's
Plus
he's
2.
already gone the ire of this guy that is here.
Oh.
11.
11. He says, now that you think about it, and he begins to walk down with his bow drawn, slowly walking over towards the tree, but you do say it loud enough to where some of the movement from over here on the cliffs has begun, and you see that this guy here, he turns around as he hears kind of the calling of like a humanoid voice out over the crowd, and he turns his head. He's like, oh. And he's slowly going to begin to start wandering this direction.
All right.
And with that, we're going to go back to our people inside the cave.
Y'all are making me work over here.
For the greater good.
Oh my god.
As you explore
21.
inside this cave, you guys made investigation checks. What was your results?
21 for Valinith.
And Theodric got a 4, I believe.
Okay. Let me roll really quick.
Don't tell yourself short. I think it was a 7. I think.
Oh.
Ooh. 7.
No, it was a 5.
Oh, it was a 5.
Valinith, as basically the two begin to check out the cages, you see that there is nobody, at least Califir, Ginar, and Theodric. You're checking out the cages, and you see that there is nobody here. There is a door to the back that does seem like open, like partially open. And there doesn't seem to be all that much that is here. However, over by the cabinets, you can see that there is a scrawled message that is out. What languages do you know?
Valinith knows Westeron, Quenya, Sindarin.
Okay. You wouldn't be able to read this, but you do see a message that has been written on a parchment, and it looks to be very recent. The ink is still wet.
Valinith grabs it and takes care not to smudge it as he kind of packs it, and kind of like hands in, like, "Can anyone read this?" As he looks around to the his companions.
Califir can speak.
Even the dwarf, he looks at what's her bucket.
Yeah. Califir can speak Westron and Gondorian, which is a slightly different dialect of, but no, he cannot read it. Theodric, what languages do you know?
Sindarin, Westron, and Rohirric.
Rohirric. Unfortunately, you cannot read it either. The dwarf, she grabs it and she takes a look at it and she says, unfortunately, I can't really make out what this says either. Perhaps we need to seek someone who can understand such a language. And it looks like pretty similar enough where like you might be able to like understand or like read parts of it, but it would be very difficult to understand and decipher it without like taking like lots of time to sit down and study it.
Well, at the very least, we have Elro here somewhere here. Maybe we can have him read it. And so Valinith packs it away carefully, making sure again not to smudge the ink or anything. Valinith kind of opens the cupboards and looks for like any other specific kinds of passageways, or if there is another place where he can go. Obviously, seeing that the cages are empty and the door's cracked, so he's gonna like we're gonna be quick about it. Is basically what Valineth is saying.
All right, so Valineth, you check the cupboards, and as you do, you see that there are a number of what look to be kind of like a ramshackle collection of goods, almost as if the crates and like barrels that have been brought, some of the kind of the nicer and finer things have been brought here, like almost as if the people who are dwelling here have kind of had their pick of that before like the trolls got to it or like any of like the regular people. And so they're not like super valuable things. Most of it tends to be like kind of like nicer like plateware, things that you could, if you got to like Tharbad, you could probably sell off pretty easily to make like a quick penny.
Any super fancy dwarven meads or wines or ales or anything like that?
Make a perception check. Theodric, what are you doing in the meantime as you see that the
Theodric
cages
is going
are...
to be heading towards the door. It's slightly cracked.
Okay.
And
14.
just kind of taking a quick peek through.
Perfect. Valineth, you do actually find what look to be a few bottles of spirits. They're definitely not like meads. They look more to be like wines. One of them has been uncorked, and you can tell like has like probably a glass or two has been filled from it. But there are two others, so 3 total bottles. 2 others that are sealed. 2 of them are the same. One of them that was cracked, and one of the sealed ones, and then another one does look completely different. It's difficult to tell because none of them have labels on them.
Okay. Valineth will take both of them. He'll uncork the 2 and sniff them, and kind of see if he can decipher
You're taking
what
all
they
3
are.
or just 2 of them?
All 3.
You uncork the one that originally you had, and you smell it, and there's something about it that seems vaguely familiar. I'm gonna have you make a traditions check for me.
Traditions. That's a 7.
7. At some point within the past couple of years, you smelled something that smells like this.
Is it bad or is it alcohol?
It's
It just
alcohol.
smells like.
Yeah,
Okay.
it seems like it's like a freshly opened bottle of alcohol. The other one that's like more or less the same as far as the same kind of bottle. It has the same smell, and then the last one, you pop it, and it has like a very, very strong smell. Like I don't know what's the best way to explain it. Like almost like gasoline. It kind of has like that kind of smell where it's like it like burns your nose as you just like
So it's alcohol though. It's
alcohol.
very strong alcohol. Okay.
very, very strong.
Valineth takes note of that and puts them all in his backpack. And he was going to be like, these might come in handy getting past the what's her bucket, or what's its bucket, the Etling Etten. Getting past the Etten again. Theodric, do you see anything over there?
And as
like
as Theodric peers behind the door, again, the door is kind of like half ajar. You open it up and you see what looks to be kind of a small, probably about the size of like a pantry that you would have in like kind of like a large like dining hall. So you can like, it's like walk in and you can look around and there's like many shelves. Most of it seems to be empty actually. But as you continue to look around, I'm gonna have you make an investigation check for me.
Okie dokie. I'm going to try one of the new dice I got for Christmas.
Do it.
And my dice tower.
Do it.
12 plus investigation, you said?
Yep.
That is an 11.
11. So as you look around, you find that there are actually a decent amount of pretty fresh rations. Probably the most valuable thing that you find here is a large wheel of cheese. But you, as you continue to investigate in the far corner, you see an interesting looking pouch. This pouch seems to be made of leather and has an interesting insignia that's on the front of it, but you're unable to determine exactly what it is that it says. But inside, you can see that there is still somewhat fresh food that is there. Like dried meats, but like very recently cured. Like it kind of still has like a little bit of like a pungent scent to it. But this does look much nicer than probably what the majority of people would be carrying around with them.
Okay. Theodric's going to stuff the wheel of cheese into his pouch and have a look at that pouch that had the fancy insignia on.
Perfect. You take it, and you can go ahead and add to your inventory. The cheese is going to be the equivalent of 10 rations. And the insignia pouch has 2 rations, including the pouch inside of it.
Okie dokie. But before I stuff the pouch anywhere, I'm going to show it to Caliphere and Valineth and be like, "Do either of you recognize this this insignia?"
Caliphyr, he takes a look at it and he says, "Seems unfamiliar to me. If it was anyone from the realms of Gondor, I would know right on the spot." And he kind of hands it over to Ginar, and she takes it and she says, "Oi, this is my father's." And she takes it and she holds it basically to her chest, and she says, "He was here, but he's no longer. He's left this place. But to where?" And you can tell that like her eyes begin to start welling up as she kind of like sniffs it back. She looks at like the hammer that's on the back, like the backpack of Caliphyr, and she says, "He was alive at least until they came here. I know it. I can't lose hope. But he seems to be long gone." And looks around at basically everything that you have seen and all that you have collected, and looks back to Valineth, and her eyes, you can tell, like the immediate look in her eyes, you can tell that like this is something that's important to her, Valineth. And so,
Yeah,
with that-
and Valineth puts a hand on her shoulder and says, "Don't worry, we'll find him if he is still alive. But in the meantime, is there any way that you can sense in a direction where your father has gone? I don't know about dwarves too much. Do they have any second senses to be able to?"
I don't know. Maybe there's something in the cages, anything that might be able to help point us, or anything here that might point us to perhaps where he was taken, if he was taken.
And Valineth would be like, "Yes, that is astute. A woman of knowledge. I like it." And Valineth looks around and sees.
Outside of
find
everything, you've pretty much, unless you want to start taking the valuables from the cupboards, which there's probably nothing. This seems to be a very temporary residence.
Okay, so it doesn't go anywhere. Basically, is what he's thinking is if there's any like secret entrances anywhere to go
No,
deeper.
not from what you can see. This is probably
Well,
the
we
furthest
might-
that it goes.
Well, we should probably consider leaving. We've stayed our we've stayed our welcome, and especially considering the fact that this isn't a prisoner's holding cell, we need to be careful leaving here, and not attracting any eyes in that aspect.
And with that,
If-
yes, go ahead.
And Theodric's just going to agree and just be like, "Yeah, we should probably see how Syrian's getting on."
And with that, we're going to go back to Kyrian. So as you see this man walk towards the tree, do you plan to kind of follow him from a distance, or are you going to keep your where you're standing?
I'll follow him.
Okay.
Unless he
So-
says stay there or whatever.
No, he
you
doesn't
know,
say
then-
anything. Almost as if like he's kind of like single tracked, like going to look, and he's like approaching very slowly, as if like trying to like see like what's in the tree. As you do so, you round this corner and you actually get,
Wait, can I? Where are the other guards?
So there's one that's here, one that's here. That's all you can see. One vanished here. I can grab the Etten real quick. The Etten's chilling right here, and that's all you can see at the moment.
And that's a guard. The end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh.
The one thing that you guys
okay.
learned last session is, I think Kyrian might have said something about this. The thing about the Ents is they are not the most intelligent creatures, but they're like their senses are like really high. Not only because they have two heads, but like they're often used by the Shadow. They're very rare creatures, but they're often used by the Shadow as like guards because like they don't sleep. Because while one of their heads is sleeping, another one is awake. And so they're always aware, they're always have their attention, and they have
That
decent
sucks.
smell and pretty heightened hearing too.
Okay then.
I believe in you.
Let's go check behind the tree, I guess.
So as he goes and kind of looks up into the tree with his kind of bow at the ready, you hear, "Oi, anyone up there?" You make your way around the side of it. I'm gonna have you make a perception check for me.
Wait, is he talking to the Ed?
No, he's talking like if there's anybody like into the tree to see if there's anybody like.
Oh.
over there.
What am I making? Sorry. Perception.
Perception check.
Okay. Please be good. 19.
You look past the end because you think you can see something off in the distance. There is a small bit of movement in this tree in particular. There is somebody in the tree, but it is not in this tree.
Is it Elra here?
I know, that's what I was thinking.
All you can
Have we
sense
blown
is
his
movement.
cover?
I can't see who or what it is.
Yeah, you can't see who or what it is. Just some movement in the tree, almost as if someone's like in the top of the tree and it like shakes a little bit. Not enough, like it could be the breeze, but it's a pretty hefty shake.
Sure. Okay.
Theoretically, Kyle,
Mhm.
how many points of shadow would Kyrian get for giving this guy the old stab?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, this guy here?
Yeah.
Theoretically,
Maybe not.
probably none.
So if he just went full Assassin's Creed and just
Yeah, you're
Gave
pretty
him the
much out
stab.
of sight. To be able to do that. The only one concern is you could potentially pick up the if there's any noise that is made, this end will be awares to it.
Yeah.
So it would have to be like a one and done.
Yep. So I while he's looking up into the tree,
Mhm.
I am going to unsheath my belt dagger and throw it into kind of a nook in the dirt as to make it look like it has been dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna say, do you see anything up there?
No movement at all. What are you playing games with me? And he turns around and he like almost like he wants to like go and like grab like the scruff of your shirt.
Oh, I swear I saw something. What is that? And I'll point at the knife.
And he looks and he sees there's something faintly glowing on the ground, and he looks over to it and he's like, "Oh, what is this?" And he bends down and he looks at it. He doesn't touch it yet, but he begins to kind of uncover like some of the snow.
Be
that's on it.
clear, this is not my elven dagger.
Oh, it's not your belt dagger.
This is my belt dagger.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Not your
okay.
elven dagger, so it's not glowing.
No.
Okay.
This is just a normal dagger.
He looks at it, and he doesn't hesitate to pick this one up. He takes a look at it and he examines it over and he says, "This is finer make than any of us have been able to plunder." And he holds it and he's just like, "You're right. Someone is here." And he looks around. He says, "Someone is here, and this one is mine." And he goes ahead and he takes it for himself. But he looks around and he says, "Sorry for not believing you."
That's okay. If it was one of those curse word northern folk, I swear those rangers are... I hate them with every fiber of my being, but they are sneaky, those little rats.
Make a performance check for
Oh crap, I'm so bad at this!
Those curse words. But does he get advantage again since he's trusted?
17.
It's a +2 because it's he's still
It's
disguised.
19.
19. Yeah, he says, "I don't know. Part of the reason that we came up here," and he actually, as he says that, he does drop a name. He does say, "Part of the reason Uldrak led us up here is because many of the men of the north haven't made their way, haven't been able to come here for centuries, from what I know. I doubt it's them, but this does look man-made. Maybe an elf is on our trail. Maybe, And he looks to you, like, directly in the eyes. "Maybe we've been infiltrated." And he turns back immediately and he looks into kind of like this whole area and he says, "Listen." And he like kind of hesitates as if to like for a name. "Listen, what was your name again?"
Can I just roll to see what the first, like, whatever the Rudar name comes to mind.
Sure.
Because I don't know any, but like I would just be like, breath. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Brath.
Yes.
Someone here is here that can't be trusted. Someone lurks in the shadows, or even in plain sight. I'm relying on you. We must uncover this.
Give him this.
Right away. Shall I?
Aldrak will reward us greatly if we're able to bring forward any spies in our midst.
Shall I try to track down this person? I have some skill at trying to track people down.
What are you thinking? Which direction do you want to take?
Well, from what I can tell, whoever this was covered their tracks nicely, but I don't think they...
I don't see any tracks coming from this. They must be really skilled at what they're doing.
Well, I've heard that the elves don't even sink into the snow, so if it is an elf, it might have not even left tracks.
He looks puzzled, and he just he rubs his face, and he says, "That is concerning. We must be
Yes.
on our guard."
I know, but do you think they... Do you think they've gone even closer in, or do you think they're trying to escape? I mean, I did make our presence known, so maybe they just ran off. Maybe we should send out a party to search after them.
I hate this. I have to go, but I want to stay for cinema.
No worries. This will be on YouTube, or at least on for the next couple of weeks here. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it, Dom.
I gotta go to work. I'm sorry, guys.
No
Hey,
worries.
you're good. Have fun at work.
Good luck.
I'll
I'll
try
make sure
not
to-
to die.
Gaslighting this poor guard.
I'll make sure to pop up your picture here. But thank you for hanging out with us. It was great. We'll see you.
Catch you
in
all
2
later,
weeks.
guys.
Sounds good.
See you all in 2 weeks.
And with that, he looks and he says, "We need to go alert our superiors of this. I think it's best we keep it quiet. We don't want a stampede of trolls. That's dangerous for even those who are allies to them."
And it might finally cause the second rock slide, as I was worried about.
He looks to you and he just shakes his head and he's like, "It's still a couple of weeks out. You do not need to worry." But he
No,
says,
there was one earlier.
"Fine. I'll go back and alert Aldrak of there's somebody in our midst. Someone we can't trust. What will you be doing?"
Well, someone should probably keep watch, so maybe I'll just go back into your post. It's a little more out of the way of the rock slides, and maybe I'll just keep watch until... Yes, that's probably best. I'll do that.
And with that, he takes one look and he says, "That's a good idea." And he
Yes.
basically puts his bow away, and he has his hand basically on like a sword that's at his hip, and he casually, kind of rapidly begins to walk in.
Wait, I put an arm on him. Wait, should we send a search party toward some of our more western fortresses? I have a feeling that if this is an elf, they'll be heading west to potential allies.
He again caresses kind of like his chin as if deep in thought, and he says, "Much of our men that we still have are at the Broken Keep and in other locations in Rudar. The captain said that Aldrak can only bring the men that he thought was necessary, including you and me. There should only be about 6 of us here, keeping eyes on the place. We're all to abandon this place tomorrow anyway. But if you see more than 6 of us wandering about, there definitely are spies in our midst.
All right.
I think we need to keep everybody here so we can make sure all heads are accounted for."
That is astute. Quite so. I'll go back to my previous post.
And with that, this guy starts to kind of slowly walk his way here. And you begin... Are you going up here or back over here?
No, where he was before, so I'm a little closer to the exit.
Perfect. You climb up the ladder, and as you kind of have this bird's eye view of like this entire valley, you see that many of the trolls seem to be like prepared almost to leave. Some of them not so much, but you see Mormog, he is actually no longer in sight.
Oh, that's terrifying. Okay.
You do see that there is a what's his bucket? The hooded figure. He is still up at the front, and he seems to be resuming what Mormog was doing and going through the rubble. His eyes are turned, and you can see that at this point, Aldorak has made his way kind of about this far, as he's continuing to see kind of the movements that are going up here. And with that, the company that is in the caves, you are just now emerging from your...
Making sure that there's like no one watching us right away.
make a
That's what we're
perception
doing.
check.
Okay. I mean, we're not trying to be necessarily like sneaky about it
Mhm.
because we don't want to look like we're sneaking about, but okay, that's an 18.
18. You see as you make your way into kind of like this area, it's much of the same. You see that this guy up here is still digging through the rubble, but you do not see the other guy. And as you look around, fortunately with the high enough score, you can see kind of the top of his head before he disappears behind this rock. He's started to make his way out towards the main area. But as this guy continues to walk,
Oh boy.
a large hammer is swung and whacks this guy. We will see if it's an automatic hit, but we'll see if it's enough damage to kill him.
Or at least knock him out.
Or at least knock him out. That is a maximum damage roll of an 11. It does not kill him, but he does get whacked against the side, and it is directly in the chest, and he is currently at the moment unconscious for a bit. And you don't hear like this going, and actually he kind of disappears behind, and so you don't actually see this happening, Kyrian.
Okay.
As the dwarf, he grabs him, and he actually drags him more down towards this area before he deposits him basically like right here.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Cool.
But anyways, Valinith and company, what are you guys doing now that you see this?
Yeah, so Valinith is immediately going to look to see if there's another path for where a prisoner could potentially go immediately. So as soon as they emerge, he's going to look towards like specific areas. Maybe over here, he's going to look kind of as much as he can see up here if there are any caves or anything.
Seems like there's two ways in and out. The way you came from and the way up here. But you don't know what's up here because you're still kind of below this elevated area.
But
you can only see this far.
But we do know for sure.
Yeah, one of the guards went up here.
Valinith is going to look up and kind of see if he can see Kyrian as soon as he comes out. He's going to initially look over here.
You do not see him, and actually, you do not see Mormog either.
Okay. Which is concerning. Valinith is going to like kind of scan the perimeter and see if he can see Kyrian at all.
As you do so, your eyes eventually do fix on him. There's enough of his like kind of like Dunedain armor peeking out of the cloak that like you can recognize it. But you do see him up top.
Is there anything like reflective that I have? Like, or is there any sun or anything on me?
Well, it's nighttime. Is it nighttime?
Oh.
Yeah, it's nighttime.
Yeah, nighttime.
Ah.
So there would be no real way of knowing. There is a giant torch that is up here, so you can potentially make some kind of signal with that. As far as
I was thinking of like trying to reflect light with something.
Yeah.
Just over in that direction.
You do see them emerge.
Is gonna see him and gonna go like this, and pointing at Ginar and go like this, kind of like underneath.
Okay.
And kind of go like.
I mean, I'll kind of signal like, wow, we gotta go, bro. Like, we've overstayed our welcome.
Okay. Valinith is going to turn to Ginar and say, seems like, well, can first Valinith try to decipher, I guess, what Tyrion is trying to say. With his
It's pretty
hands
obvious. It's pretty obvious.
Okay, all right. Is gonna turn to the party and turn to Ginar and say, "Seems like we need to head out. Seems like Kyrian seems to be quite urgent. Moving forward, what do you say we do?"
Calefir, he looks directly at you, like in a very serious, almost stoic way, and he says,
Mhm.
"If we are to keep up appearances, we must continue like we're making our rounds and not draw any unwanted attention to ourselves. Unfortunately, there are no prisoners that are here, but we will be walking out with a potential prisoner. We need to walk in a formation that somewhat covers Ginar, so she is not seen, which I think will make our job a little bit more difficult as..." And he looks and he says, "Much of this, we have to watch our footing." And Theodric, he's just like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is completely fine."
Well,
I'll point out
Theodric,
the icy spots.
if you're so confident, why don't you climb up under the cloak and hang on to Theodric as we're walking through?
Ginar looks up like shocked at that, and Theodric kind of like looks at you like side-eyed too, and eventually the two of them do say like, "Oh, okay, like that's fine," but I'm actually gonna have I'm just gonna roll on here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have him make an athletics check for me, and that's a
Oh,
natural
no.
12, which
Okay.
will be enough to be able to hold for some
Nice.
time. To be able to just kind of like she's kind of like grabbing like around like the neck kind of and like kind of dangling off his back, and Calefir says, "Well, that's one problem solved. Now to make our exit, I'm gonna have the two of you make stealth checks for me."
Oh,
We got this. Don't worry. Kyrian, believe in us.
Britt, I hope you're listening.
That's a natural 20 for a 22.
Oh snap! Valinith has started walking on snow and leaving no prints.
Heck yeah, Valinith.
He's on purposely trying to make man.
No matter how hard you try, you can't make footprint. At the moment, nobody's looking for you. It's not a problem. Calefir ended up getting a 9.
Maybe you should have carried the dwarf.
No, because I don't. I will fail my checks.
No, I'm just
Athletics.
saying, then you would have left footprints.
Sure.
And with that, the group of you begins to walk out, clearing kind of this first obstacle without drawing too much attention to yourselves. Here, I'm just gonna remove Ginar because Ginar and Theodric are a mega person now. So it brings you to this path. Which way have you decided to go? At this point, Aldrak has made his way this far.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. Valinith is thinking doesn't necessarily want to like meet him face to face over here. Trying to think logically, if he's looking for someone, he's gonna make his way down here and then make his way back this way. That
Okay.
makes sense. He's not gonna climb back up the hill again to come back down here.
This will be the
So
first
Valinith-
time, potentially, though, that you would be confronted by 2 guards. And so, essentially,
fine.
what would have to happen is you would have to make some kind of skill checks to charisma skill checks if you're trying to still kind of keep up appearances for that. With 3 of the guards kind of moving. This is kind of not necessarily inconspicuous, if that makes sense.
That's fine. We're keeping up appearances, aren't we?
Mhm.
So Valinith will talk to the other 2 and see what they think, if they have any objections.
Calefir says, "I don't care what we do. We must just keep moving."
We'll go up here. It gets us further away from the trolls too.
And as you continue to walk up kind of this snowy mountainside,
I have a question. I'm gonna size up this guy.
hmm,
Does he look like he's also like part of the guard? Is he like head honcho?
Oh, he's the head honcho. He's the guy who is up here.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
the guy that you
yeah,
saw
yeah.
up there. Yeah, he looks much more of a threat than like your typical guards that you would have. The men of Rudar are built bigger. They're built stronger than most. But they're, from what you can tell, they're not the most intelligent creatures in the world. People in the world.
Yeah.
This
I'm going
guy-
to try to
it's
flag him down.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have you make a. How are you doing it? How are you gonna try to flag him down?
Would I know anything about Rudar protocol? Like, have I fought them enough that I know their kind of calls or like their sort of way of...
As you know, they're tribal, and so like
Okay.
their calls are different depending on the tribe, and so whatever tribe Aldrak's a part of, it would be difficult to tell what
Okay.
they were, but you could
I'll-
you could have a guess at like potentially
Yeah.
like it's usually some kind of like animal calls that like go under the radar, similar to Dunedain, but Dunedain tend to be much better at it than the Rudar, which is why Dunedain could easily pick it out if like they hear something like a call from like a Rudar person.
I will do a poor impression of an eagle
Okay.
or something, and
Okay.
try to kind of wave and get his attention and gesture him over toward me.
I'm gonna have you make
Slash like point off and then like come here, point, come here, you know.
I'm gonna have you make a nature check for me.
Oh, right.
I believe in you.
Thanks. I think I'm decent at nature. We'll see. It didn't roll well. At all. How important is this check?
I don't know what you're trying to do. Just trying to get him towards you?
Yeah. If I fail it, he just won't come toward me.
I mean, he seems to just like be walking. So essentially what ended up happening is he noticed the commotion that was going on here. So from what you
Yeah.
can tell, he's slowly making his way in this direction. If you're closer, you might be able to flag him down, but you would have to wait. And basically you're keeping an eye on two people. You're keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
You're keeping an eye on the group that's trailing
Okay.
behind.
Well, it was a natural 1 for a 5.
So as
So
you begin to make this eagle call, it's a and you begin to just like
Oh my.
cough. And it's not like loud enough for anybody to really hear it, other than the fact that that sounds like you're just like coughing.
Okay.
And people are looking across. It doesn't really seem to be
That's
drawing much
cool.
attention, but it's definitely not like a "Hey, look at me" like type of attention like call. Like,
All
I
right.
have news.
I
anything like that.
will. Is there any sort of torch or anything over here that I could stick in the fire and like wave the flame or something?
Yeah, absolutely. There are
Okay.
a few torches that are set out throughout. Basically, they're used for the patrolling. If basically you just come and then you just deposit it. So yeah, there's probably
So
like three
yeah, I'll
torches
just
here.
light a torch and kind of wave it, try to get his attention.
And as you
yeah.
do this, you get the attention of these two as well. And they look up to you like for a brief moment, and as they do, this group is actually able to sneak by without having to get any
Kieran's a
conflict.
guy.
Oh my
Kieran's a
gosh.
G.
Aldrak looks up and he sees that you're waving him down, and he looks to you and he says, he like points like, and you nod, and he begins to walk a little bit quicker in this general direction. So he's able to
I
make much more
will
space.
Put it down and I will come kind of meet him kind of over here.
So while like that whole walk is going, the group of you continue your walk in this direction.
Yeah, we're gonna hug the cliff as much as we can to kind of stay out of this guy's range, even
Make
though
a
he's kind of
stealth
looking
check
over
for
here.
me. It's gonna be a group stealth check.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 for Kieran, not natural, but or Caleb.
That's
Caleb Fear.
17 for Valineth.
All right, let me go ahead and pull up Theatrix stat sheet.
I mean, I can just roll a dice for him.
I know, but I
in
don't
the-
know what his stealth modifier is, and I think this is kind of important. 'cause
Guys,
there's
Britt
one-
might be
okay.
coming in clutch here if we need her to.
Okay, all right.
It's Adventures to Middle Earth.
Depending on
Stay
this-
tuned, Britt.
Stay tuned.
Or anyone else in the chat. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't
Lurk
have to
in
just
and-
be Britt. She just happens to be the one that does it most.
Not wanting to affect the world of Middle Earth, but that's what you're here for. You're part
As
of
you
it.
walk by, Caleb here actually kind of gives like a salute to the guy that's up top. With his
Class.
1, he is not being stealthy at all. Okay, so he's got a
Aw.
+1. That is a 9. The guy addresses you as you walk by and says, "We're supposed to be in patrols of 1. What are you doing?"
We were flagged down by our comrade on the other side here. We're part
That was
of...
for you.
Yes, it was. I mean, we're going to check it out. Did you not see the commotion that was going on over here? We're not in a position right now. Valneth calls up. We're not specifically on guard right now, and it seemed like they were urgent. So we were told by our captain to follow him.
Make a persuasion check. You have a +3 to this. Give me 1 second. As you make that, I need to go use the restroom real quick. I will be right back in like less than a minute. So give me a second.
Cool.
All right. 13. That's not bad.
Not bad.
It's not bad.
Let's see what happens.
It's not bad. You know, it's an urgent situation.
Dude, I'm freaking shooting from the hip this whole session. I'm
That's
just
good,
like,
though. That's good though.
just
You're
like,
doing
distraction
good.
here, distraction there, everywhere, distraction.
We didn't get. I'm still bummed we don't got the dwarf.
Dude,
but we made.
but like, where would we have found him?
I know.
Like,
I know.
where else would we have gone?
I know. I think though we'll be able to get through the. So my thought process, we need to find some sort of like orc weapon or something or other and place it kind of by what I'm thinking. This guy who's knocked out.
Yeah.
To see if it's like, you know, because the thing is, orcs, trolls, men, evil people, they don't like each other. You've seen the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they fight each other because they're evil creatures. They're just like they work together with grudgingly.
Have
And
you
so if
been
we can-
looking for one, and have you come across one yet?
No.
Okay.
But if it seems like this guy was somehow attacked by an evil guy,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe it will draw all the attention away from us and there'll be infighting.
There
That's
you
what I've
go.
been thinking this whole time.
Yeah.
That's what I've been thinking this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time.
See, what I'm trying to do is I'm
Hmm.
trying to use this. We're metagaming here. Sorry, everyone.
No, we're plotting.
Yeah, I'm trying to use this big boulder
Yeah.
to try to divert everyone to be on the north side of it while we make our escape on the south side of it.
Yeah. I got you.
So that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Obviously, we're going to continue to go and not this way. We're going this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do. Anyways, there's a 13.
13. And so as you say this and you make this kind of plea to this guy up there, he looks to you and he says, "Fine. Make sure you get back to your post. You know you know what happened last time we disobeyed Aldrak's orders."
Oh, yes. We don't want that to happen again, do we? And Valinith leads the way up through here.
Caliph and his captains get up also. He says, "As you were." And the guy kind of just like looks shocked and he says, "Okay." That's it. And then
As we're walking, Valinith is going to look to see if
Do
he
I
can
s-
see...
I'm keeping an eye on them. Do I see them go that way?
You do see them, and they do disappear behind this boulder, eventually coming out on the other side. You do see that.
Okay.
And this is
Also-
probably, as they disappear behind the boulder, that's probably about the time that Aldrak makes his way here.
Okay. Also, note for you, brother. Can we move this part so we can see your face again?
Are you guys okay? You okay with that? Can you see me on
Yeah,
the
I'm
side?
good.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, we could just, like, move, kind of shift everything over a little
Yeah,
to
that's
the
probably
right.
true. That's probably true.
Because I feel like we're kind of done with that portion there.
Maybe.
I don't like that. Don't say that.
Let me rotate everybody in the directions that we were going. Okay. And with that, this guy was here. This guy was here.
Valinith, as we're walking, he's going to
I
look
have-
to see if there's any, like, discarded, any sorts of, like, arrow shafts, like orc arrow shafts or Rudarmen arrow shafts. I think Valinith picked up 1 or 2 Rudarian arrows in his time.
You did, yeah. So in the Broken Keep, you got, I think, 3? or
Yeah,
something?
3. Yeah. And he's just gonna have those. He's gonna keep. He just knows he has those as he's coming through.
Okay.
And um,
There are no scattered bits of arrows. Like, again, this place seems
Yeah.
like the only scattering that you see is like the bits of like wood and stuff from like the discarded like crates and barrels from the trolls that have made their way up here.
Yeah, Valneth and group are gonna go over here. And do we see Arnar and the dude?
Well, first and foremost, as you make your way over here, you hear a Psst. Oi, where's Ginar?
Oh, Ginar's here. Do not worry.
Theodric kind of in like still hiding, like opens the cloak to
Want
see
to buy a
the-
watch?
What are you buying?
Speaking of which, Arnar, what is this? And alludes to this guy right here.
Yeah, this guy. He says, "I'm just taking out the garbage, right?" And he like gives a kind of like a smile and like a chuckle.
I understand that, but at the same time,
Just put some
Don't want
snow
to-
over him.
is he dead though? And Valneth checks to see if it's a dead man.
He's not dead, but he's pretty close. It's very labored breathing, and you can tell that like he's probably has some cracked ribs, some internal bleeding. If not treated, he will die. But
So Valneth turns to the other two and says, "Do you think we could get any information out of him? Prisoner of war type situation."
really, we're trying to leave this blasted place, and you want to bring more dead weight.
I mean, that's a good point, but... And it's the instincts within Valneth of, like, not wanting to, like, slay the dude, but knowing if we leave him alive, he's gonna tattle. And so it's like, I have one idea. I have one idea. One thing I could do. And Valneth pulls out a arrow of Rudarian make. And says... we could sabotage this man. And Valneth sees that he's got a short bow on him. What I could do is I could shoot an arrow down into the closest troll down beneath. I know Kirian's on the other side over there. At the very least, it could cause a small minor commotion for the time being, but seeing that is a Rudarian arrow itself, maybe it could be seen as infighting of sorts, and this man right here, we could bring him over here with his arrow there, and maybe we're gonna have to find someone to do the deed to slay him, if that's the case.
Caleb
And
here,
saying
he
we
says,
salute the imposter.
"Couldn't it? It's a blunt wound. You hit him with your hammer, didn't you?" And on our nods, and he says, "Do you think potentially we could just say that he was a casualty of the trolls who got upset that they were shot with an arrow?"
That's true. That's true. At the very least, we need to create some sort of diversion, because it seems like Kirian has helped us along the way, and it seems like he's in a prickly situation. What do you say? At the very least, Honor is his name, right?
Yeah.
Ginar and Honor.
Mhm.
I would suggest hopping underneath Califir's cloak, if you can.
So this is going to be a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Anar is wearing that heavy dwarven armor that is...
Well, at the very least, if you want to take it off, I can carry that. You could be naked dwarf underneath the cloak.
Caleb here says, "I don't think we have time for that."
Okay.
Knowing how long it takes to don and doff to the like.
Here's the
plate
thing:
armor.
we just need to get by the troll down yonder ways, and I have a way to do that without using our secret weapon. However, if we cause a commotion right away, then that could be a problem as well.
And with that, Califir and Theodric, they both look to you and they say, "Well, it's a plan. It's not as, it's not the way that I wanted to leave quietly, but it could work."
With Kirian, I just worry about him. Again, the one thing I know about creatures of evil men that are evil and orcs that are evil is they have no love for each other. They work with each other out of convenience. And maybe in the revelry, that's how it could be said. We already know that there is some sort of something's commotion going on. It could just be a casualty of the commotion. I don't know what to think other than that.
And with that, we're gonna jump over to Kyrian. So Kyrian, as you come to meet this man, he strides up again. He's more impressive looking, and you're a tall man, and he beats your eyesight, but he's like twice as wide as you are. Probably standing about again like 6'5", 6'6", maybe somewhere in that era. And he looks to you and he says, "You called me." And then he kind of sneers. "I don't remember having someone of your stature in our ranks. What was your name?"
The name's Brath.
I'll remember that. Tell me, what did you have to tell me?
Yes. Me and my other lookout saw some commotion. We think there may have been a spy down this way, but he was gonna come tell you, and then he got rerouted and went to investigate behind that tree over there. And I haven't seen him come back, and I fear the spy may have gotten him.
Either that or more likely that blast had detonated him. And he looks back down into kind of the, like in the direction of the tree, and he says, "There are footprints. Would you like to go
Yes.
investigate?"
I think we should. We did find a knife that's much better make than ours, but he had it, and like I said, he hasn't been back, so...
Brath, and he like looks at you dead in the eyes, and he says, "Do you think that this is important enough for me to be aware of?"
Of course, we think there might be an elf or some of the enemy around. Or, I mean, maybe just one, but even still, there was no tracks left behind, and they're the only ones that could be light-footed enough, and the knife was of nice enough make. I think that's the only thing that makes sense to me, at least. And he was going to come alert you to see what you should do, and, well, he went over there and got lost behind the tree, and I'm just trying to relay the message.
No further explanation needed. If you think it is an elf, you have my interest. And he looks back down in that direction, and he says, "I like elves. They're useful in many ways." And he basically puts his hand on your shoulder, and you feel this very firm grip. And he says, "No need to fear. With me, nobody will mess with you. Maybe Fryact, but no one will mess with you." And he continues like, "Lead the way, Bract."
Yes, of course. And I will,
Does Valnith see this? He's right.
Oh yeah,
here,
like
right?
you see this conversation. You're like you're far enough away where it'd be difficult to hear. But you do see that the two of them eventually do depart, and meaning at this moment, if you're going to act, this is probably your time to do it.
Valnith says, "I can't think of another way, especially with Kyrian going that way. We need to attract that captain back towards the crowd. Seems like we might need some play acting as well at the same time. Caliph, are you willing to play act with me?"
Indeed, I'll follow you.
Valnith makes a shout, and he says, "Hey, you stole the last dwarven wine! What are you doing?" Towards
Caliph here smiles after seeing like the wine that you had taken from the halls, and is like, "Yeah, that's the captain's. What is his name? Sorry, I've been drinking too much."
And Valnith is just like, "He's gonna skin you alive if he finds this." It's better I push you down now before anything.
Are you setting me up? And Caliphyr gives you like a little bit of a push.
And Valinith says, "Oh, I had it." He takes out his bow and he shoots it down into like this direction, but like into the pit of trolls.
All right, make an attack.
And it's a Rudarian arrow.
Yeah, which essentially means it'll just break upon use. There's no potential reclaiming.
Yeah, 26.
That definitely
Oh.
lands into a troll. Go ahead and roll damage.
It's nothing. It's just a +0 arrow. So
So just normal damage.
oof. 7 piercing damage.
As you release
Nice.
this arrow, it goes soaring down, almost as if it was a pinpoint shot right into like the right below kind of collarbone throat area of a troll. And he goes, and he like spills like his like cup all over him, and he's just like, I just got stung. And he's looking like around in the air as if like there's like some kind of like flying insect.
In Valinith, as this happens, is basically he has like the half-drunk bottle of what it was, and he puts it down by like he drags the body of this guy like over here
Mhm.
and puts the bottle down by him.
Okay,
If
I'm
that
gonna
makes
have
sense.
you make a
Like the
dexterity
half-drink.
saving throw. All of this is happening really quick, and this is
Yeah.
in a position. So you're gonna have help with doing this with Caliphyr, so it's not disadvantage. But
That's a 4. It's not good.
Nice.
It
It's right.
is.
He's drunk.
it is ramshackle as you're going,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
fortunately you're all disguised, but these
Yeah.
trolls do see you like moving this, and one of them points out, I was like, "Oi, that one's got a bow!" And it's the one who's like unconscious, like on the ground.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Get 'em, lads! They betrayed us!" And like one of the trolls, they begin to like come up, and like this commotion is enough. We're gonna jump over
Yeah.
back to Kyrian. That
Oh, gosh.
you begin to hear like behind, and Aldrak is just like, "What now?" And he turns around and he sees that like there's like one troll in particular. It looks like some kind of like a hill troll who's like making his way through the crowd, like eyes like geared towards like one individual, and he's just like, "Best stay out of their way. Come." And he begins making his way up here in order to step out of the way of whatever rampage is about to happen here.
But what of the elf? Do you
He's
want me
going
to
nowhere.
go investigate?
He's going nowhere. Come. And he turns his back as he leaves you.
Okay. I will oh gosh. I'll come over here until I see them.
Mm-hmm. And as you take a look to your left, you see this large hill troll coming through. Basically the crowd pushing him aside is like, "Oi, I'm in the mood for man flesh!" And he just like pushes one of them away, and he is reaching out to whoever's closest. Which at this moment it is you.
Oh
Kyrian.
yeah, no, I will. I will take evasive maneuvers and I'll be like, "Oh crap!" and like run, and yeah, just try to like get out of the
Yeah,
way.
we're
as
all
much as
moving this
possible.
way. Like as this is all going, seeing hill trolls coming our way. To the Etten.
Kyrian, make a dexterity saving throw for me.
I believe in you.
Thank you. I'm trying to see if there's any reason I should have advantage, but nah, probably not. Oh! Why? Maybe there's a reason.
Little
No.
Brit's always at the hold.
Well, not
No,
now.
she left. 6.
6. As this troll comes up to grab you, on this slope you slip, and you slide down into the troll pit.
Oh.
On your back, you are not grabbed by this troll, but the troll is like still up here, and he sees the one with the bow, and he's just like, "Oi, I found the stinger!" And he like grabs like the bow, and he like breaks it like in his hands. It seems at the moment you are not being eaten, but you got to do something quick in order to get out of there.
Yeah. I am going to do my best to find a way to hide or cover or get out of the way, like climb back up here or like
Yep.
slip away quietly,
Make a
disappear in
stealth
the
check
commotion.
for me. Yep.
Okay. Can this be at it? Are we in my favorite land still?
No. The Broadcleave is out. It's outside of it.
Please roll. Why? 8.
Fortunately, these trolls
Oh
are
my
drinking.
God.
In the commotion, that is enough to get you off to the side and begin climbing. to
You
the
have
side
the
of this
scroll
cliff.
too, by the way,
Oh.
in case you need it.
That's good to know.
The
Alright.
troll makes his way up here, and he grabs the man, and he has him in his arm, and he just now, like, he starts to wake up a little bit. He's just like, "Ugh." What's happening is he's dangling over the mouth of this troll, and just as he like goes down to bite, all of you begin to hear kind of this eerie you feel this eerie chill go down your back, and in your minds you begin to hear this voice. That is enough.
Voldemort?
Well, we're moving still. So, Kyrian, what are
Yeah.
you doing?
Yeah, I'll try to move in that.
Stealthily?
Yeah.
Make a stealth check for me.
Oh boy. Come on, baby. There we go. 17.
17.
That's
You
better.
successfully slip by, and as you do, and as you turn the corner, you hear Aldrak say, all right. Playtime's over, you heard Frecht. Unless you want to be turned inside out like that stone earlier. And with that, the commotion is continuing, and the other Ettins has woken up at this point.
Valinith has taken out the 2 bottles of whatever it was that they found back in like the captain's quarters, and says, as promised, we brought what we needed. We're on our way out, 1 for each of you. And
Yeah.
hands them to them.
1 for each, you say? And he turns back. What is that commotion? It's not joyous. It's and the smaller head that was asleep. He smells a.
Yes, I smell feasting. I am hungry. What is that? Man flesh. Haven't had that in some time.
Don't be distracted. We got dwarven ale. And he said, the other one looks. He's like, dwarven ale. And he looks down and he grabs one of the bottles from you.
Unopened, I see. Good. You do good. Go. On with you.
At ease. And Valinith kind of marches past towards them and kind of makes.
I'll move too. Can I, now that I'm closer, try to get a better look at what's in this tree?
Make a perception check for me.
Okay. 13.
13. As you look, you can see the glint of a small piece of blue cloak. It is Elro here who is up in this tree.
Nice. Is he part of our party?
Currently, at the moment.
He went off and like redirected the other Rudarians.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You can see, though, as you investigate and see him in this treetop, he waits until the troll, the Ettin, is drinking, and he slides down, and you can see that he only has 1 arrow left in his quiver. And as he does so, he says, I see no prisoners. Where are the 2 dwarves? And Kyrian and Caliphyr and Theodric both show them, and it's like, we best be off. I was able to divert them, take many of them out, but they're a number. They seem to be crossing towards the north into Rudar. Our presence here is perhaps here unknown, but they'll know that the keep was on fire. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough arrows to be able to fell the remainder of them.
Well, we did learn some information at the very least, and Valinith takes out the note that they had found and hands it to Elro here and says, here, I don't know what it says, I can't read it, but maybe you can or one of your kinfolk can.
Were there any prisoners?
We saw signs of them, but unfortunately, where we were able to discover, long gone.
We must make haste. From what I hear up there, trouble is not far behind us. And he takes a look and he says, go. I'll keep an eye from behind.
We march.
And as you continue
Yeah,
to do
we
so,
go.
you hear the Etten, as you hear like big large swigs, and hear,
Ah, that's right. Fine dwarven spirit.
and then the other one drinks like, "Oi, mine's not dwarven." And you hear like the bottle crash. Give me that! And it's like the two like sides are like fighting over like which the one bottle that they are, and not leaving enough distraction to be able to let you escape out of sight to a degree. I'm gonna have it be a group stealth check for me.
Okay.
We got this. Maybe. Ah,
21.
6.
The 4 for Theodric and
Darn
for
it.
Come on.
Caleb here.
Come on, Caleb, you're coming clutch.
15.
Okay. All right.
I gotta do for Elro here in the trolls, or in the. I guess the dwarves are on the back, so Elro here. It doesn't matter. Two of the 5 of you have passed. So you guys successfully make your way down into the Broadcleave. That doesn't mean you're quite out of danger yet, though. You begin to hear kind of some yells off in the distance of trolls like roaring in rage. Not necessarily like they're fighting, but you hear some arguing back off in the distance as you begin to make your way
From
down
where
the,
we came from, or
from where you came
in...
from. From where you
Okay.
came from. Down in the similar path. The one thing that you will remember is there were 3 trolls down at the entrance of the Broadcleave as well that you were able to sneak past at the beginning. So there is potentially still one more obstacle that you would have. With that being the case, I'm going to have Kyrian make a investigation check for me.
Cool. Why do the dice hate me? 6.
It happens.
You're
Today.
unable to see too much as the night continues on. It's decently dark, but fortunately for you, trolls are loud. Even if they're not speaking or anything, in their movement, they have heavy footfalls. You don't hear anything as of late, especially rumblings growing closer to you at the moment. And as you make your way into kind of like the area, if you remember when you had first got here, there was like kind of like that like single path that splits again into 2 paths down like this. Like 2 sides. It's kind of windy. You went on the southern path before. Are you going to take the northern path or the southern path? They both eventually lead to the same
Valnith
place.
asks Elro here and says, "On your way in, which path was safer?"
He looks. He says, "I took the southern path. There were fewer footprints there."
Southern path it is.
And with that,
Yes.
you continue to run. At this point, I'm going to have you all make Constitution saving throws. Nope, that's a lie. Not
Whoa.
all of you. Not all of you. Caliphyr and
Okay.
Theodric as they carry these dwarves.
I believe in them.
They're
Yeah, they're the
bulky.
thickest. That's
That
why I
was-
gave.
that was just
lads.
that was a straight Constitution check. That was not a saving throw.
Oof.
So give me 1 second. Oh, 7 for Caliphyr.
Wow. Come on,
These
Caleb.
rolls.
We'll put him on Broad Rock.
Put better rolls in my dinner.
Jelly rolls. And then that was a 17 for Theodric. So Theodric's fine. Caliphyr, he stops for a moment, and you can tell that he is like out of breath, as he's carrying this armored dwarf with him, like on his
Understandable.
back. And he's just, and he puts him down. He's like, "Do you think we're out of sight yet? Can I let Anar down off my back?"
Yep, that's fine. Valnith's like, we just
And
need
he
to be swift.
immediately drops, and the dwarf falls to the ground. He's like, "Oh, it was nice and warm there." And he looks around. And he says, "Oi, sorry about that." He's gonna take 1 point of exhaustion.
Ah, bummer. It's okay. We're on our way out. Hopefully.
You're on your way out. Cool. And with that, the group of you continue down. What is the marching order? How are you moving?
Kyrian's first, right?
Yeah, I'll be
Kyrian
first.
Okay.
That makes
Kyrian.
the most sense. Silvero here at the back.
Mm-hmm. I guess Valnith will be next, then Theodric and
Or maybe the
Caleb
dwarves
here.
in the middle.
yeah, Dwarves in the middle, then Theodric, Caliphyr. Well, Theodric's still carrying
Mm.
what's her bucket. So
Yeah.
So dwarf, Theodric, Caliphyr, Elro here.
yeah, sounds good.
As you continue to rush down, you do hear some noises up ahead. Kyrian, I'm gonna have you make a perception check for me.
I'm good at that, unless I roll like poop again. Nat 20 for 27.
You begin to hear what sounds to be hiccuping and burping. The trolls have found whatever drink that they want to drink, and the 3 trolls that are up ahead seem to be heavily drinking. You hear one of them say, "Boy, it's been a while to have something this good. If only I had some dwarven meat to go with this." And the other one, you can tell, is a little bit further away and says, I had a dream about a dwarf the other night. It was crunchy and juicy and plump. And then the other one, the third one that was there, says, "Oh, I wish I could dream. I had a dream once." And as
I had a dream.
make your way into the open, you see that these 3 have kind of, 2 of them are sitting on one of the far sides and the other one on kind of the lower side. You have now made your way. This has probably been about 20 minutes of running, like running, not just like walking, down into kind of the opening where the Broadcleave is. And so you can see like the beginnings of where the Horwell is and like the many kind of channels that are there, and like out before you, you see the vast wilderness of Rudar out in front.
Where's the horse?
He's hiding up.
Yeah, he's hidden up on a hill.
Okay.
Right now, like kind of just to the south side of where you guys had exited.
Because that might be nice right about now.
For Caliph, yeah.
And as you make your way out, I'm going to have, actually, what are your passive perception scores?
Real good, 15.
10 for Caliph and 11 for Theodric.
17.
17.
Woo! Whoa!
As you very easily slip by, you don't even have to make stealth checks for these trolls, as you easily slip by and make your way up towards basically the landing where Broadrock is, where you guys were hiding when you first had come. There's kind of a definitely the hint of shadow in the immediate vicinity, and both Kyrian and Valineth feel it.
I don't like that. What does that mean?
I don't like it either. Yeah, what can we sense where it's coming from?
Make a shadow lore check, both of you.
I bet it's what's her
something
bucket.
like that.
I bet it is.
Oh, why am I so hot and cold today, man?
Okay, 18.
5.
You continue. You sense something is off, but you're unable to tell what it is. And Valineth, there is something close, something that is otherworldly that is near you. However, it is not currently where you are. You kind of have like a sense that it is somewhere up above, back behind you.
Is it familiar? Have I felt it recently?
Very recently, you have felt this.
All right. Valineth turns back around and says, just kind of back towards where it was, and says, "We have the information we need, and we are in the process of foiling his plan. Hold on just a little bit longer."
And as you do so, you look to see nothing behind you other than the trolls that are kind of down still, like in the valley of the ravine. I'm going to have you make a perception check for me.
Perception? I'm good at that theoretically. Okay, all right. 18 again.
Your eyes are drawn to the upper cliffs of the entry of the Broadcleave, and you can see something almost ape-like jumping between the peaks, moving quickly towards you.
Oh! Valineth turns and says, "We are not alone. That is not the ghost. We gotta go."
I'll check my sheath in my knife. Is it glowing?
It is glowing.
Oh my god.
Although that doesn't say much, because there's also like 3 trolls down at the bottom of the ravine.
I think Morbog's behind us. It is time we go.
Yes. Let's make haste. Broderick, show us the meaning of haste.
And with that, you make your way up, finally up kind of the side of like that hill. You make your way to Broderick, who Broderick, you can tell is on edge, and Theodric does his best to comfort him, and he puts basically the two dwarves up top, and you can see Elro here behind. He has an arrow drawn, and Caliphyr like puts his like hand out and says, "No, I don't think they knew we were here. If we shoot at whatever it is now, they will know for a fact that we were here. We must leave with haste." And with that, the group of you begin to book it. Where are you going?
Broken key.
To Rohan. South.
To Rohan.
It's not Rohan, sorry. To the Hidden Valley.
Theodric's like, I know the way.
My bad.
Can we pull the map up?
Yeah.
quickly?
Elrond and I can't think of the name.
Elrond and Rivendell.
Rivendell.
Yeah,
Of course.
Hell of the Riven.
Yes.
So I guess Kyrian would know better than anyone the quickest and fastest way, unless we're trying to go back to the Fortress of the Dunedain.
Nope. I think we had decided that we're just after this we're going straight
to Rivendell.
to Rivendell.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you remember, but we were going from this keep up to here, and then we were going to go straight down to Rivendell so that we could inform. And I think, from what I read on the inscription, I think Rivendell needs to be informed, and I feel like going to Rivendell will best disseminate the information.
Yeah, Valna's following because he's like, Kyrian knows where he's going.
Yeah.
Kyrian knows.
And with
So.
that, you begin to make your way into the hills of the Trollshaws. You are now in familiar territory. So you have all of your buffs and
Sick.
whatnot as you continue to move. Basically at a sprinter's pace. At this rate, in basically a forced march, as you continue to make your way south towards Rivendell, this is going to be probably about a 3.5-day trek to Rivendell. And that's with only having 6 hours of sleep each night, and basically
Nice.
moving as fast as you can with minimal breaks. With that, I'm going to have the group of you consume 3 rations each. So let me go ahead and do that as you continue your descent back.
Luckily, someone's got the cheese. The cheese of 7 rations.
That's true, rations. Oh my
Someone
gosh,
doesn't need to go to the
freaking
restroom either.
Theodric has 42 rations, so he's going to consume 3.
There's 42 rations?
Nice.
Yeah.
What the flip? Are half of those for Broderick?
80
what?
pounds.
80 pounds of rations.
80 pounds of rations.
Wow.
Sorry,
my
sorry,
good,
Australian,
and,
if I disseminated information you didn't want people knowing. I don't know if that
Cooking
includes
in
the
the
cheese,
dungeon.
though.
Yeah.
Cheese.
I don't know if that
what
includes
is
the
it?
cheese or anything.
Oh, there's an anime. He'd be really good in that anime about the dungeons and cooking.
Oh yeah. Delicious in the dungeon.
Delicious in dungeon, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That would be.
We got dwarves
you know,
with us. We got dwarves with. They probably know how to cook some good stuff.
That's true.
Who needs extra
They have a
rations?
I
I'm gonna say this just for history to note this. Theodric, Caliphyr will need 1 of your rations. So down to 38.
Oh, nice.
I'm good. I got 3 left. So
Wait,
And
wait! I thought Theodric had the rations.
he did.
does. I mean,
But
he has some
Caliphyr-
rations, but they were consuming their
Caliphyr
own
didn't have
rations before digging into. Do you have rations on your character?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I had enough.
Caliphyr did it.
Yeah, Caliphyr didn't.
Caliphyr. Sorry, I thought you said Theodric, and I'm like, I thought he
Yeah.
was the one with 80.
No, Caliphyr took a ration from Theodric, so just
Ah,
for history to note, that's why you only have 38. I don't know, Australia, if you put the extra rations in, but that's why. And I'm gonna
Nice.
have the group of you, the 3 of you, I guess 4 of
he
you,
went to Costco.
went to
Yeah,
Costco with a big wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
Who knew that there was a Costco in the Broadcleave?
It's
With
just a
that,
cart made of snacks.
with that though, I'm gonna have 3 separate Constitution saving throws be made for each of you. Each day that passes, I will say this: the very first one that you roll, a DC. I'm not looking at anything that's happening. The first one that you roll is a DC of 8. The second one that you roll is a DC of 12, and the third one that you're gonna make is a DC of 16.
Okay, so the first one was 9, so he passes.
Theodric,
Oop,
he got a
second one
nat
did not
1.
pass.
Got a nat 1, so he gains 2 points of exhaustion.
My first one's a nat 20 for 21.
Nice.
Nice.
Valnith fails his second one with
Hold
a
up,
2.
hold up, hold up. Give me 1 second. We'll do one at a time. So, after day 2, Theodric has 2 points of exhaustion. What's the exhaustion rule? I think we're doing the new one, the new rule where
Oh, nice.
it's, I think...
Well, I thought it was like disadvantage on stuff, and
Yeah, that was the old rule. The new rule is just like just a straight modifier. So -4
Oh, yeah.
to D20 tests.
rough.
Yeah, -4 to D20. So his last one will be at a -4.
Yeah, Valnith failed his last 2.
Yeah, and Theodric failed his third one. So he has 3 points of exhaustion. Caliph here. Where is he? Where's that boy? He is going to make his first check. He's got really good Constitution saving throws, but he got a natural 2 for 7, so he has 2 points of exhaustion after the first one. Oh man. Oh man, might not be good.
Well, we'll carry him if
So
we
his
need
second
to.
one, his second one is
We
at
have a horse.
-4. Ooh, 19 or 24 -4 is 20. So he passes his second one, and then his third one is a natural 1, so he gains 2 more points of exhaustion. So
Wait,
by
why
the
does he
time
gain 2 more points?
at a natural
'Cause he got
1,
Oh, because it's a natural one. Yeah, I got
he's
you,
at 4 points of exhaustion. By the time you get to Rivendell, so that's them. What was your guys'?
You wish you had your armor bearer now.
Yeah, right. 2 points for Valnith.
Okay,
By the
and
end.
then Kyrian.
My first one was a nat 20 for a 21, so I saved on that. The second one was an 18 plus 1 for a 19. And the third one... Ah, it was a 4.
Okay.
So 1 point of exhaustion.
As you rush, before you begin to leave the Broadcleave, you see leaping out from the top. Like you're still a decent distance away from the entrance to the Broadcleave, but you see leaping out from the Broadcleave. You see a large, blackish creature, and he stands up and he lets out a roar. And you hear kind of some heavy sniffs. And he turns around and looks in all directions, but he doesn't seem to find whatever he's looking for his mark. And he turns around and he disappears back into the Broadcleave. Mormog did not see you as you were departing.
Oh my gosh.
Woo!
Yeah, but as you continue to run, we can play this out a little bit. Through this terrain, it is quite arduous. It's much more difficult to travel through the hill country, even though Kiri knows exactly where he's going, as if like this is his own backyard. Ducking through basically the foothills of the Misty Mountains in the Trollshaws. Fortunately, many of the trolls are actually not here. They are in the Broadcleave, and so it is quite a bit less dangerous than it would be typically at this time of the year. But there are a couple of things that are actually starting to become obstacles for the group of you. One of which is the snowmelt, especially as you start to make your way south. It's no longer, especially as you kind of make your way like halfway through day 2, it's no longer snowmelt anymore. It's just thick, dense mud that basically has been trickling down from the hills and the mountains. And that's primarily where the majority of like Caliph-Ear, his day 2 was a little bit rough. And so that's where he gained a lot of his disadvantage. Making his way through, and that slowed you all down quite a bit. However, as you as a group trudge through, you were able to make your way kind of further south before, as the hill country kind of fades away, you see kind of more the lush green of kind of this more southern area of Misty Mountains. You see many woods begin to pop out, and you know that at this point you're about a day out from the entrance of Rivendell. You make your way, Kyrian following exactly the paths that you like the white stones that mark the ways to Rivendell, which without so you would definitely be lost. And you find your way eventually looking down into the valley, and before entering, you see that everybody is exhausted, just weather-worn, beaten down. and literally like the fact like Caliphyr like looks almost like near death. He, for the last half day, he's had to travel on top of Broad Rock as he's just like barely opening his eyes and like able, like his wounds from the travel are immense. He's going to require some serious time in order to recover from this, probably no less than about a month in Rivendell. But at that point, it is going to, we're going to go ahead and end our session for today.
Oh my gosh. In Rivendell a month? Holy crap. You got Elrond there.
Yep.
Healing. And what's his bucket? You know, the guy who was also good at healing.
Which
Dang
means
it.
at the start of our next session, you guys will have a
Holiday.
Yep. Sanctuary holiday phase. Quick thoughts on today's session. If there's anything you want to add before technically officially closing session down, speak now, forever hold your peace, or at least for another 2 weeks.
You can go first, Cole, if you want.
No, go for it.
Oh,
All right.
actually, no, I'm going to have you make an arrival check for me, Kyrian, as the traveler. Basically, you roll a
Okay.
D8 for me, and then you add your survival check to it.
Okay. So I rolled a 4 plus survival is +5, so 9.
9. As you arrive in Rivendell, you can tell that your spirits are decently beaten down, as from what you see, being, fortunately you weren't actively pursued out of there. That could have made it much worse. And so the outcome of this trek is fair. And so you were able to make your way without being discovered by any trackers or anyone who potentially could have been sent after you. And currently your mission has been kept a secret. However, that isn't without its toils. During this adventure, you very much grown as a company, but kind of learned everybody's strengths and weaknesses as well. And with that, you make your way into Rivendell, more closely bonded than when you had previously come, but also with apprehension in your hearts for what's going to be happening. It's not all bright and sunny here in Rivendell this day. It is a time of definitely great worry and planning and strategy in the upcoming holiday phase. With that, we will officially close. Oh my gosh, you guys. Gosh. Bad
Wait.
checks, but the
Oh,
checks
no.
when you needed them.
Man, I feel like it was like, Cole, you and I just feast and famine. There
I
was
know,
hardly
it
any
was like
loose
a 1 or
roll.
a 20, like
Caliphyr
all
as well, to be
freaking
honest, too.
game.
Caliphyr never really had any like amazing checks, but he had a few really bad checks. And Theodric at the beginning had some really bad checks too. That was
Yeah, I think Valnith rolled 2 natural 1s, a bunch of natural 2s, and then some good rolls here and there. But overall,
It
no.
was rough. It was rough. for
because
sure.
of this, you can remove all points of exhaustion.
Okay.
Because you are staying in Rivendell. There is a caveat, however, to that. If you have 1 point of exhaustion, you can get rid of it within a day easy. If you have 2 points of exhaustion, it'll take about a week to get rid of it. 3 points, it'll take about 2 weeks. 4 points, about a month, and so on. And so, just typical.
Guys, I'm
sanctuary
good
rules.
after a day. Come on. That was
Yeah,
nothing.
Valnith just needs some milk. He's gonna stay with his mother for a little while.
Yeah.
Get some
And
mama's
Why
cooking.
weren't you just running on top of the snow?
Because I was running on mud, not snow.
Oh.
Theodric
Well,
is going to
I run on
require
top
a
of the mud.
minimum of 2 weeks to recover from his
Nice.
3 points of exhaustion. So.
Valnith wants to train with Estel and be like, Estel, I saw some things. I saw some things, my dude.
I don't think
Yeah.
you're ready yet.
On the journey, I will, to the best of my ability, like in the moments that we have, kind of like rehearse and remember to the best of my ability what was written on the
Yeah, I'll send you the text for it. So
Perfect.
you can just have it.
yeah, and then I will tell it, and I assume in my Rohirrim, or not my Rohirrim, wow, who am I? In my Dunedain way, I am going to kind of rehearse memorizing this, and so that I can preserve the essence and the memory of it.
Yeah, not all that glitters is gold, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I would say in
So-
probably your downtime, I think Valnith would be able, if you recited it to him, I think Valineth would be able to probably transcribe it for you.
Cool.
In a very good fashion, if that's something
He's
you
got
wish to do.
elvish dreams. He doesn't sleep.
But yeah, that's mostly just like while I was traveling, and then in this holiday phase, I will be trying to get my armor upgraded.
You got
But,
sweet armor though.
I
don't you?
know. I got the what is it called? The armor of the Warden of Arnor.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, I can add my full dex bonus to my armor class, which is sick. And also, if I restore this item, I will improve its quality. So I will be doing that because I'm pretty sure we said that the only place I could do that was Rivendell.
Yep. I mean, you would need someone who had like ancient enough knowledge to be able to know like how like the men of Arnor crafted armor to be able to do that. So
yeah.
And with that,
Rivendell.
this holiday phase is going to take place over the summer months, and so by the time you made your way back into Rivendell, it was, I believe, beginning, or like by the way you made your way back into Rivendell, it was end of May. So you're going to be spending at least the month of June here in Rivendell, at least for as far as Caliph here is concerned. So you've got a month to do stuff, but that also means for those who can recover quicker from what they do, think about things that you want to do in your, like, very quick things, like I want to go like visit somewhere like decently close that you could visit within a month. If you want to go like visit or like do other things. Unfortunately, because Theodric needs 2 weeks to recover, he will not be able to visit Rohan if he wishes to do so. But he can do anything in Rivendell within the last 2 weeks that he's able to see. So I'm trying to think, probably on this map, you would be able in a month to be able to visit about as far as the Shire and back, and down south, probably Tharbad. And the reason the Shire is because you could just take the
road.
Greenway. Yeah, the Greenway. And it's just it's like the main highway that passes through. And so
If he borrows Barad Rock, he could get there in a day.
Yeah, just one day. Just do you know?
Hey, Theodric, I know you're not feeling great. Can I borrow your horse? I'll bring it back. I promise.
We need some bonding.
I'll get an oil change while I'm at it. You know, it's.
Yeah, but you could probably
new
visit as
tires
far as
on
the
it.
Shire within a month.
Gas is on me.
Like there and back in a month. So
Cool.
Anything else? Just as far as like things to prepare, review on your characters, potential virtues. Oh, and you all gained a level.
There we go. That's what I was about to ask. Can you roll that right now?
Yep. And which means you might be able at level 5 to unlock cultural virtues. So that might be one of the things that you want to do during your time, is unlock a cultural virtue.
Nice.
For that. So let me go ahead
Where do
and
I
actually
see that?
level up Theodric real quick.
You go to manage, right?
Yeah, manage.
Manage
Is
character.
that in place of whatever we gain at level 5?
No, it's an addition. So basically the way that Adventures in Middle-earth is you get based off of your culture. So like Gondor or whatever, Gondor Dunedain, you get cultural virtues, but those require like your holiday phase to unlock. And so while you may have access to it, you have to spend a holiday phase to unlock it. Like that's the action, like main action that you do. You get 2 actions you get 1 action basically every 2 weeks. And so Theodric will get 1 action to be able to unlock a cultural virtue. Caliph, he's going to struggle because he has to rest for the majority of it. But if you guys want to stay an extra 2 weeks, you'll have 3 actions to do, etc.
Well, Valineth can only do 1. Is there any way he can increase his healing time if Valineth tends to him?
Yeah, I would
Spends a
probably
week
say
doing
so.
so.
Yeah, I would
Spends
say.
a week.
Yeah, you could probably cut it down to 2 weeks if you want to use one of your actions to actively heal and help him rest. Yeah.
He'll do that. He'll do that. Share the load. By the way, with the HP, we'll do that. I'm assuming when we're done, but and whatnot. But it's a D6 for me, right?
D6 for you. I believe with Theodric. So I have to remember. So he's got 36 hit points right now. I think it automatically increases him. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, cool. So I'll have Theodric re-roll his hit points when that point comes. So you
Oh, it's a 6. Oh, 33
6
hit
plus
points,
your con modifier.
which is a 0. So I'll get 33 hit points. That's pretty good.
Let me go back to Caliph here real quick. I'm gonna increase my
Nice.
manage.
I'll worry about the others later.
So what are we doing? We're leveling up to 5.
Yep, leveling up to 5, and then you can do your HP increase if you want to do so. Remember, it's just you're rolling for it, so.
Right.
So he's got that.
And it's just I just roll one of my hit dice.
Yeah, roll one of your hit dice plus your
Plus the
con
con.
modifier. And Caliph here is up to 39 hit points.
Dang, that's
Woo.
pretty good.
Come on, baby.
Did you
I rolled
get
a
the 10?
10.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. 10 plus what?
1.
Nice. Hey, it's better than Valineth plus 0.
Ooh, I got an extra attack.
I'm gonna have to look into those things. But can I give my thoughts on the session?
Yes, thoughts on
while
the session. Go ahead.
we're doing this. Yeah, really good. I've been kind of a little anxious about this since we last played it before Christmas. Then I kind of forgot about it, and then this past week I got anxious again. I'm like, oh boy, how are we gonna get out of here? I am still curious how the dwarves feel about us leaving their father, because that's the whole reason we brought them. Hopefully they're very understanding of the situation and why we couldn't save him. Either way, I think it was really good. I think we all played. Yes, we had some bad rolls, but I think we role played it well. I think, you know, like we got ourselves out of the situations that we need to get ourselves out of, and I think we were very creative in getting ourselves out of the situations that we needed to. Especially you, Cole, like not being gone for the last 2 sessions and then just suddenly like having to get right back into the nitty gritty, not really knowing what's going on, but then figuring your way through it. You think you did pretty good.
Thanks. You know, I feel like, you know, I remember enough of our plan from so long ago that yeah.
It was good though. You think you did a good job, but we didn't get caught. I mean, yes, there was an invader, but at the same time, it's like we weren't specifically caught, and like it's just like, oh, there's just someone out there who's potentially.
I was just sending them on, you know, nothing quests.
Which
like,
is good. Hey.
Oh, what was that? I was being the guard from Skyrim. What was that? Oh, it must have been the wind.
But no, I mean, overall, I think it was a really good session. And again, I think the best way to describe it is how like the end of our adventure went. We ended up as fair. We had some really bad rolls and really bad moments, but ultimately it turned out okay. And I love it. So, yeah. That's my thoughts.
What does that score affect?
Which one?
The fair.
Oh, yeah. It affects you potentially get certain buffs and whatnot like upon completion of your quest. So like for example, if you got like a really bad score and you rolled in and it just did not turn out well, essentially what would have happened is you would have taken much longer in order to get your, like for example, you would have to be like 4 weeks in order to do one thing or like things like that. Basically like kind of like effects of exhaustion.
Sure.
Also, it can affect shadow too. So really low can get shadow. High scores can remove points of shadow. And like various things like that, like small things, like depending on where, like what sanctuary you're returning to, you might get like certain buffs depending on like your relationship to it. So like for Rivendell, for example, like Valineth might get like some extra buffs if it's like a really good score. If you're like, for example, returning to Fornost for like Kyrian, like getting really good, if things like that. Or like for example, if you go to like a travel for like your hometown, like it doesn't require an action in order to unlock like a cultural virtue. Just like small little buffs that like help with that.
Okay.
So it kind of gives you like a little bit of some like I don't know, extra things that you can do for your adventure, but exhaustion also kind of plays a big role in it as well. So
Sure.
But anyways, with that being the case, Cole, your thoughts? Did you share them?
Oh, man, my heart was freaking pounding. Like, I was just like, all right, this is not going our way. Time to find an exit. And then the guy was like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. What are you? See that ice? That's gonna really mess us up, man. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. It made me get very creative, which was very fun, but also very stressful. As like literally, I was like, all right, time to find an exit, and then y'all were like, cool, let's go in the cave. I'm like, that. Not what I meant, but I'll keep stalling.
The Cave of Wonders.
Yeah. And then
Could've
you
been
found
worse.
nothing in the cave, which
We did.
like,
We found a note. We found a note.
okay, sure, but you didn't
And-
find the prisoner.
We found
In the
out that he
cave.
was there though.
Oh,
And we
yeah,
got
alright.
and we got away. We found a way to get past the Enton.
True. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it worked out without having to use our fancy scroll.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a really fun session to be a part of. I've really missed playing with y'all. So yeah, sorry, my rehearsal schedules lately have been kind of crazy, so I got in and wasn't able to kind of prep as much as usual, but
Okay, I
so
think we
sorry
filled you
y'all,
in.
the late start was on me, but
It's all good. It happens.
yeah, so we made it and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I want to remind you guys of a couple of things. So this adventure like pretty much took place over like 10-ish sessions. And so just a quick reminder of that. A few things to maybe make note of to be able to check so you don't forget during your adventure. So you remember when you were in the Broken Keep, you got a few items, which
Yeah.
included the book, which you gave to Elro here, Glorfindel's sword. Obviously like the armor that you were able to get and things like that. What else? There was
The dwarven armor.
the dwarven armor that the dwarves currently have at the moment. I don't know if there's any news from the refuge of the Dunedain that you need to share, but remember that there's like information that you need to disseminate. The note that you just got today, potentially getting that translated and figured out what that is. Anything else?
I mean, the prophecy, I guess,
Prophecy.
for
Yep.
lack of a better word. I need to make sure all the Dunedain get that. I wrote that down.
And
See
then-
whatever happened to what's her bucket from the elf that we
Yes.
saved. Forgot.
Uh-huh.
We sent her back to Rivendell, so
Yeah,
if she's still
Check
there,
up on
then
her.
yeah.
And then, was there anything from Rhine up on the first castle that you guys went to go?
Well, the elf. We found the elf.
Yeah, the
and
elf.
then
But
the
was
the
there anything
dwarven
else? I
armor.
don't
The
think there
elf,
was anything
the
else.
armor, the dwarf armor.
I think that was it, right?
That was all.
Okay.
And the fact that we know now that they're uniting at Mount Graham.
Yes. And their plans.
Oh,
Um.
the remembrance of the map that Kyrian got from the Broken Keep. That's gonna be kind of important as far as like the things that you
Yes.
remember. That's something that might be good to bring up if you're having like a group conversation of like things to come.
Yes.
Yeah. Without having to
From
go
Peace
back and rewatch all of the sessions, I think that's most of it.
Yeah.
Valinus looking for his father, you know.
The dwarven hammers.
Yeah.
The Rohirrim
Helmet,
garb.
Helmet.
gauntlets.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Valinus getting shafted. He didn't get anything.
What?
Valinus didn't get anything from
Oh.
He
You don't know
was
that.
a giver. He was a well, technically he had Glorfindel's sword, but he can't use that. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't use that.
Hey, maybe giving that back to Glorfindel he'll reward you greatly.
I mean, what do I have? The bow of the last alliance. That's already pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't have like a cool like elf leaf to go with it, you know?
Nice.
like a brooch.
Yeah, like from
Look what I did.
yeah, like from Feanor, you know?
I am an
The-
elf friend as an elf.
Yeah. Like you are friends of the great elves who went over to Valinor.
Doesn't that put a target on my back though?
I don't
Oh.
know.
being the firstborn is already like being descendant of the firstborn is already kind of has a shadow. target
Maybe
on
my
them.
mother can upgrade her living situation.
Perfect.
I love
She's
it.
content. Let her be
Yes, she
content.
Everyone in Rivendell's pretty content. They got pretty good.
Yeah. That's
I
like
can tell
shady
stories
knolls.
to Estel and be like, I found this ancient sword. Technically, I didn't. Technically, Kyrian did, but we found this
Yeah.
ancient sword. You know, Glorfindel, it was his. It's been missing for centuries.
Yeah.
It-
We
millennia,
found it.
in fact. Yeah.
Yeah. And he'll be like, oh, I remember this. Because he's here, right? Isn't Glorfindel in
Glorfindel,
Rivendell?
yeah. He'll be there. He'll be like,
Yeah.
ah, yes.
Be like, Glorfindel, look what we found.
I've been looking at this since the fall of Gondolin. What the heck?
Yeah, it was in some ratty keep up north.
Yeah. Do you remember leaving it there?
How despicable.
Maybe.
It somehow fit in just a normal sized chest as well.
From what I remember, I
It was
remember losing it
impressive.
in a lake.
Was
Did
there
a
a
lady give
lady
it
in
to
that
you?
lake? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
No, but as far as like my thoughts on today's session, I was pretty nervous on what was gonna happen. I was like, there were a few of those skill checks that I'm like, oh no, they're gonna be bringing. Like there was I think more than any other session in even the Wilderland adventure and this one, like there was a very real opportunity of a TPK. Basically,
Yeah.
if you alert everyone to your presence, and it was just rough. Like it was game over. As far as that goes, and so. Basically, all that would have come from that is like the vague notion of like Elro here, like being like, this is what happened. They didn't return. I didn't really find much information. New characters. Yeah. It would've been-
They're done for.
Yeah, that was
And then
that was intense. There was that.
and then the
Like
prophecy
if
would have been
combat
broken.
started, it's a no-win scenario basically, unless you're
Yeah.
somehow.
What
able to escape.
happens if the prophecy? What happens to the prophecy then? It just replies to other people.
It doesn't mean necessarily applies to you. It's
Oh.
whatever. It's whatever Providence dictates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the current time.
It
Because
just
there's so
seemed-
many people who see visions of
Yeah.
their tormented past and
Yeah. Maybe there's a second prophecy. You know. That prophecy was destroyed. So.
It's called
There-
subtext.
some
Yeah.
ladies handing those out of the water and lakes too.
I'm really glad I didn't try to assassinate the dude who was doing magic. I almost did. I thought about it. Part of me was like,
Ooh.
I shoot him in the head, and he isn't able to do it.
I'm really curious though on like what Theodric's view of that was, because he's already had like a run-in with magic before.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm like, heck no.
Quickly, like a quick update in Wilderland Adventure, they were dealing with a guy named Voltaire, and he had magical powers from a shrunken head that he had kept on his hip.
The voodoo.
Very Voltaire of him.
So
Nice.
he was the last baddie in Wilderland Adventure, and so yeah, I'm actually very curious if Australian was here, I wanted to ask him like, hey, what are your thoughts about this? Like seeing magic again. He's just like, no thank you. But
I ain't got time for that.
nobody's got time for that. But with that being the case, I think we're gonna end it for today. Dane, do you have any announcements?
A quick announcement. So we are officially back in action starting this week, back to normal scheduling. So that includes, we're going to be starting our new series, Twin Blades of Eorzea, where Kyle and I will be doing a co-op stream of Final Fantasy XIV, the MMORPG. That's kind of designed kind of like Coalforge Great Axe, the M is Silent, to be more of just like, you know, chatting with chat, hanging out with you guys, while at the same time playing a game. And enjoying just the camaraderie there. We do have Everlast on Friday, so come join us for Everlast. That should be a really good session. We just found out a lot of real interesting information from last session. That is available on YouTube if you have not seen it. But yeah, we do have Everlast on Friday. And again, that's 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And then moving into the weekend, Coalforge Great Axe is back at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, right? Eastern Time, 9:30.
Yeah. That's
There
the
we go.
goal.
That's the goal. But that's going to be every second and fourth week, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the weeks that we have Everlast, basically,
Yeah.
Coalforge Great Axe. We're gonna have lots of streams the weeks we have Everlast.
It'll be weird though. This month is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's technically the second and fourth Sunday, which will be prior to Everlast.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
normally.
month is weird.
It's a weird month. I mean, normally we have Adventures in Middle Earth on the first and second Tuesday, or first and third Tuesday, but it coincided with Everlast because it's
Yeah.
technically Friday.
Because there's
so-
like a 5th Friday this month or something.
Just remember,
Well,
first
the
and second,
first was on a Wednesday. So
Yeah.
Yeah, just remember, first and third, second and fourth. That's the patterns we have.
time in the
Yeah.
west. Don't count it time in the east because, like, for example, it was this week for us. It was still second and fourth Wednesday for us.
It's true.
And
Because the
Right.
first, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's the time.
Time.
But anyways, we have that. So Cole Forge Great Axe will be back and debuting. Are you guys playing Pokemon Unite again?
Yes.
Okay.
We haven't made a decision yet.
All right.
Yeah. We probably will start with that if we don't figure out something else before then. But we
always a
will be
good game
playing
to go
more
back to.
co-op type games.
Play Resident Evil 5. That's a good one.
That is, I don't know how if we could do that like online, but that's the other struggle is like playing a campaign online together. We have to find games that you can do that. So,
That's true. I think
although you
could do
guys
it on-
know, so
you could do it
also,
on
what
Steam.
level are y'all starting at
For what?
for Twin Blades? Are you both like
Oh,
starting new characters? Or are you?
No,
No,
with the same
we're-
characters.
I think
Okay.
we're starting. We're gonna be doing our playthrough through Dawn Trail, which is the newest one, and then the one previous.
Okay.
Previous one. So
Nice.
Endwalker. So we haven't done Endwalker, which is the previous
Okay.
one, or Dawn Trail. So right now, the character that I'm mainly going to be using is my healer astrologing character, and I believe she's a level 80. I believe she just hit level 80,
Oh,
so
nice.
she's where she should be for the beginning.
Mine
of
is level
Endwalker.
90, but like 91. But I'll be doing all of the content previously, which is nice because I don't have to worry about like doing like leveling in between to keep up with the story. So.
Mhm.
Nice.
It'll be good.
You get level synced anyways if you're doing dungeons and whatnot, so should
So-
be fine.
True.
Yeah, it'll be fun, but again, Kyle and I used to do it a lot when I was living in Japan, and we just haven't. And I think it's just a good opportunity to be able to play some Final Fantasy 14 again. Cole, if you ever want to play some Final Fantasy 14 again, I know you're busy.
No,
so
I need a
probably-
setup. Yeah, I haven't had a setup in a long time.
I gotcha. Anyways, though, so we have that coming up. Starting next week, it's going to be a little bit more of just a normal week as well. I believe Kyle is going to be starting a new game on Tuesday, right? Wednesday your time.
Final Fantasy Crisis Core, and so because obviously Max and Cole are streaming on Monday our time, Sunday their time, I will be streaming Final Fantasy Crisis Core on Wednesday. So we're gonna kind of switch our brains to think about JST. Wednesday at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. We are starting Final Fantasy 7 Crisis Core, which is the prequel to Final Fantasy 7, which we just beat. And then after that we'll be playing the DLC and then the sequel. So there's a lot of Final Fantasy 7 coming up, and then we'll do the same thing next Friday as well.
And so we have that. I believe that's the only stream really next week. However, we're going to be introducing a new series. So actually at Fantasy Forge, Cole, this might be the first time you're hearing about this. But kind of we're expanding this in this new year. At the end of January, hopefully by February, the goal is to make Fantasy Forge an LLC, an official company. Partially a big reason is because, again, the card game, Everlast card game, is coming out to Kickstarter on Wednesday, and we just want to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row as far as that goes. But with that comes new content as well. So one thing that it's our identity, is we're a Catholic studio. So all the streams that we have and all the streams that we do, whether they're games or tabletop RPGs or anything of the sorts, we have a Christian worldview when it comes to that. It's something that's very important to all of us over here, and especially in a world where all of that's kind of set to the side, we find it's very important to live your life in such a way. And so one of the series we're bringing is every Monday starting on January 20th. So in 2 weeks, we're going to be starting a brand new YouTube channel. It'll still be streamed live on the Twitch page. However, we're going to be creating a brand new YouTube channel called Christ Forged. So again, it's like a subsidiary of Fantasy Forge Studios, but it's going to be more of like the Christian Catholic, explicitly that content. And that includes on Mondays every week will be a Bible study. It's going to be about 3 hours. Kind of the structure that we have going from it is we're going to be starting off with the rosary every single week that we do it. We're going to be switching the different mysteries. So we're going to be starting with the joyful mysteries, then the Sorrowful Mystery, so on and so forth. For the end of January through the month of February, one of our big focuses is going to be on Mary and the importance of Mary in the Christian tradition, the Catholic tradition as well, and why she's such an important figure. And so we're going to be focusing a lot. So the first four are going to be the actual Bible study part itself. Will be going over all the different mysteries and those specific Bible passages in the mysteries and discussing them. We're also going to be having a segment where we talk about prayer, the importance of prayer, and we talk about specific prayers. Obviously, the first one's going to be the Hail Mary that we kind of dissect and why we pray and where we get it from in the Catholic tradition. And then we're also going to learn some other new prayers to be able to pray for the people who have passed, or whether they're in purgatory or they're dead or we don't know where they are, or people who have or who are sick, whether that be in spirit or body. We're going to be really diving deep into the actual Christian Catholic faith in ways that we can actually participate it within our lives. So that's what we're gonna be starting. That's gonna be every Monday, and that's gonna be the same time as Kyle's stream. So for American time, Colorado Mountain Standard Time, that's going to be starting at 5 p.m. and it's going to be going for about 3 hours, and that's going to be every Monday. Don't worry though, if you can't join us live on Twitch, we are going to be uploading on that specific YouTube channel all content. So that includes they're going to be broken up. So all of the rosaries that we have are going to be they're each own 25 to 30-minute videos where you can listen to those and you can pray along if you're not confident praying it by yourself, including a bunch of other prayers. We're going to be having like 30-minute videos of our actual Bible studies. And we may even have guests on in the future, and we can do short form content with the guests. But basically, the YouTube is going to be more of that short form content of what we're going to be doing on the actual stream on the Mondays. So you can check back if you don't have the time to do it, yet you still want to participate in it. Feel free to do so. And as always, when it comes to anything we do here at Fantasy Forge Studios, your prayers are so much appreciated, and it's the most helpful thing you can do. And that includes, again, like I said, with the creation of the Everlast trading card game, which will be coming out in March. Kyle, I don't know if you have it set up, but do you want to play the ad really quick for that?
Yeah. Real quick, we'll go ahead and pop that on. I do have it here on my stream deck here.
Ooh. Yep, starting in February, especially if you live in Colorado, we're going to be really spreading it locally. So we're going to be going to a bunch of different card shops, doing how to play workshops as far as that goes. Even at my current Catholic church, we're going to be doing that, which is really nice. Come join us for that, especially if you do live in Colorado. That's definitely a good opportunity to have. That's in February before the actual Kickstarter happens, so you can learn how to play, which is pretty fun. And those will be free entry for everyone who wants to stop by for that. As far as our other quick announcements, I won't go into it too much, but we have two ways to be able to continue to support the artwork of Everlast. So that's Coffee of the Realm and Fragrances of the Realm. One is coffee, one is candles. One suit meant to suit your fancy, but they're really good. There's a bunch of different blends when it comes to the different coffees. They're really good. I highly recommend the Hightower blend and the Helix blend. Those are really, really good. I really like those. As well as the candles, we have a select few Everlast scented candles. So if you want to play in your tabletop RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, or when Everlast does eventually come out, when you're playing the card game and you want some sweet ambiance, feel free to purchase some of those. All the proceeds go towards the creation of the art of Everlast. And then our amazing sponsor, Die Snacky. Speaking of which, on Thursday's stream, so the Twin Blades of Eorzea, we're going to be giving away a box. We reached the referral limit for giving away our second free box. You're supposed to give that away before Christmas. However, my internet was not working. So we're going to be giving that away on Thursday/Friday. So come join us for that. You have to be present to be able to actually win the box. To claim it, I should say. If you are a follower and you are there, you're automatically entered in. And then also, if you have purchased a box in the past, then you have extra tickets there. And then if you're a subscriber, you also have extra tickets to be able to purchase that. But they're a Japanese sweets and luxury treats company based in Tokyo, Japan. They're a small family business, and they ship free internationally. And especially if you want to travel to Japan, but it's too expensive, but you want to taste the delicious treats and food from there. One thing that's really cool is the treats that they actually do pack are seasonal. So a lot of them are like what's available during the seasons, but it's actually snacks that Japanese people eat. It's not just your normal Kit Kats and Pocky and things like that. Though those may be included, more of it is kind of like a true, authentic cultural experience when you're eating from them. So go check them out. They're our sponsor, and they've been our sponsor for the last 2 years. And again, that helps support Fantasy Forge Studios as well. And I think that's it for me.
O Jesus, my Savior and Redeemer, Son of the living God, behold, we kneel before you and offer you our reparation. We would make amends for all the blasphemies uttered against your holy name, for all the injuries done to you in the Blessed Sacrament, for all the irreverence shown towards your Immaculate Virgin Mother, for all the slanders spoken against your spouse, the Holy Catholic Church. O Jesus, who has said, if you ask the Father anything in my name, he will give it to you. We pray and beseech you for all our brethren who are in danger of sin. Shield them from every temptation to fall away from the true faith. Save those who are even now standing on the brink of the abyss. To all of them, give light and knowledge of the truth, courage and strength for the conflict with evil, perseverance in faith and active charity. For this do we pray, most merciful Jesus, in your name unto God the Father, with whom you live and reign in the unity of the Holy Spirit, world without end. Amen. And with that, we end in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God bless you all. May the road go ever onward and onward. I will see you all. Pray for me. Pray for each other. And we're praying for you. Just know that. We will see you on Friday or Thursday in the West for some Twin Blades of Eorzea. But until then, God bless you all. I will see you then. Bye. Happy New Year.